live. Preparing the live stream. I love vodka. The only thing I can drink without having a hangover. And I think that we are we live? We are live? We are live. Sweet. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's Paramotor Podcast, Clear Prop TV. My name is Sean Symons, PPG Grandpa. Welcome. Did I say episode 50 already? Do you believe it? It's episode 50. That is unbelievable. I'm impressed. We started off this year with just doing a single interview with over the phone using a microphone on my phone and an iPad. Had the phone on speaker and the iPad recorded it. That's how we started. And here we are doing Zoom with a bunch of people, panels, and all sorts of fun stuff. Welcome everybody. I cannot believe this is going to be the last one of the year, episode 50 in 2020. Hopefully 2021 is going to be so much better. And let me introduce to you real quick the panel. As always, we got Linda Anderson, our cheerleader. Woot, woot, cheerleader. You got the pom-poms and everything. Do you got a .com that you want to spit out there real quick for the whole world to know about? What's a .com you can throw out there to the whole world, Linda?
Oh, my gosh. I'm the paramom of Robert Michaels, who does the paragliding talk.com. He is my paraglider and soon to be Paramotor.
All right.
So, Paramotor Nation with Jim. Yeah.
Woot, woot, woot.
That'd be
all
awesome.
Right.
Yeah.
We also have Brian Hey Bale Waller. What's up, Brian Hey Bale Waller?
Hello, guys.
Do you have any .coms you want to drop out there and let people know about?
Oh, yeah. This.com. ClearPropTV.com.
You don't have any of your own.
I don't have my own website. You can find me on YouTube.
BrianHayBaleWaller.com. We really need to.
Yeah, maybe one day. I just put out videos for the fun of it, man. I'm not in it for the money.
You can have a .com and not have it for the money. It's just easier to find you. Thank you, Hey Bale Waller. We also have JP Tulo in the house. What's up, JP?
What's going on, guys? Happy to be here. Always,
JP is our IT tech, but he's not in his own place. So I don't know if he can IT this place or not.
I'm working on it and doing my best. So bear with me tonight.
Okay.
Doing your best. That's all we can ask for.
Yeah.
We also have Kevin Can Fly at kevincanfly.com in the house. What's up, brother?
Oh, just enjoying life post-Christmas, trying to get the house back together, get all the cardboard and plastic shell containers organized and broke down because got to save the planet.
Absolutely. We got a really interesting show, really fun show tonight. We have Jim Reeves and his son Morgan Reeves that we're going to talk to tonight. But before we do, we're going to get a word in from our sponsors tonight. Our sponsors are Mark and Amy George from Paraswag USA and Parachick Pies. Mark, tell us 30 seconds about your Paraswag USA real quick.
ParaswagUSA.com. We sell paramotor gear. We're revamping the site. I've said that a couple times in the past and it didn't happen, but it's actually happening this time. So hopefully after the first of the year, we're going to have a lot more gear on there to be available. I worked with a few of these guys on the panel here in the past. Well, a couple. Kevin has done some business with us, and I think Kevin's kind of branching out and doing some things on his own. Hopefully that works out for everybody. But we're just trying to be part of the paramotor community, offer some affordable equipment, good stuff, new, used, different brands, just a little bit of everything. And that's it. ParaswagUSA.com.
And you're also giving away a t-shirt tonight. So everybody that's in the chat that wants to be on the spinning wheel, please say something in the chat so we know that you're there, and we will put you on the spinning wheel to win a t-shirt tonight. We also got, tell us a little bit about the parachickpies.com.
All right. Parachickpies.com. Also can reach me at parachickpies@gmail.com. On the website, it's been published today, and
here, and we will put you on the spinning wheel to win a T-shirt tonight. We also got
Yes.
tell us a little bit. Okay.
I told you there was going to be some technical difficulties tonight. That was my bad.
Hey, what is that website?
Anyways, the parachickpies.com, and you can find us on Instagram, Facebook. Like I said, Instagram, it links you straight there. I also have a link for Resurgence PPG. That's my personal charity I've kind of adopted because I really like that they work with the disabled veterans to help them get in the air, because I know that it's just, there's no words to describe being able to fly. So get on there. You can get pie coupons. I got Pie Club, and where you can get discounted birthday pie as well, offering sugar-free. And
I'm gonna have to say something. They brought me down a sugar-free chocolate pie. It was so good. I ate most of it.
I have a picture.
When I say most of it, I think my wife had one slice.
She had a quarter of the pie.
And when he says he ate most of it, he ate half of it in our presence while we were there.
So, but yeah,
really
so
good.
pie coupons you purchase, you can redeem them anytime you want to, and you can also give them as a gift, and whoever you gift it to, they can redeem the coupon whenever they want to and get a pie sent to them.
Parachickpies.com.
I can picture Grandpa with chocolate all over his face.
Oh man, it was so good. I should have had a picture or something. We also had John Hudson. He's been really good to us. He's given us a couple of T-shirts to give away also. So we said we'll let him do a 30-second video, 24-second video.
Hey, it's John Hudson with True North Paramotors. We manufacture fully customizable, lightweight, cutting-edge paramotors made in aluminum and also titanium. We're also the area's dealer for Gravity and their line of paramotors, paragliders, and reserve chutes. Check us out on Facebook at True North Paramotors. Also, our website, which will be launched later this month, is AmericanMadeParamotors.com.
Awesome. And it's really nice when you guys give us things to give away. So if you guys have anything out there that you want to give away, please contact me at ppggrandpa@gmail.com. Let me know what you have, and just ship it to me, and we'll give it away on the show. I'll pay shipping to anybody that wins. So thank you for the donations. We also have Mark Mcelroy from PPG or Paralife PPG. And he gave us a little clip that he wants to share.
Hey there, this is Mark Mcelroy with Paralife PPG. Come visit us on our YouTube channel, Paralife PPG, or on our website at paralifeppg.com to see our selection of t-shirts, cups, and decals. Fly safe and God bless.
I tell you what, it's really nice having so many people that are part of this community. Want to also let you guys know too, if you want to be on the show, hashtag your video that you have, maybe have a crash video that you want to talk about or something, hashtag it ClearPropTV, and we'll definitely find it, and we'll get you on here. We also have a merch store if you didn't know about it, iloveppg.com. But now what we want to do is talk to you with Jim and Morgan Reeves. He is, they are, you know what? I almost forgot my son. Son, I am so sorry. I am so sorry. His wife is putting together a store, doing really well and doing T-shirts. Do you want to talk about it real quick? I'll put me on mute so you can talk about it. Go ahead.
What's up, guys? I'm Cameron Dixon. You can find me on YouTube at Dragon Campers, or you can go to www.dragoncampers.com. I made a short video of my wife of what she does. She mostly does kids' bows and boutique type of clothing, but she can also make custom T-shirts and window decals as well. Sean's about to play it right now, so just message her. You can find her on Facebook at Classic Creations, and she's getting started off. She's been with business for about a year or so right now.
Awesome. I'm sorry, I won't be able to do that. Oops, I'm still muted. Something's going on with my, you want to mute yours? Something's going on with my internet. I can't pull it up. But anyways, check it out. I will put it in the description down below. Anyway, so with no further ado, thank you very much, Jim and Morgan, for waiting for us to go through all this stuff. This is all about you now, and we appreciate you being here. Welcome, Jim, and welcome, Morgan.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
This is the father and son paramotor newbies. And if Brian can take it away, he's going to co-host as I make sure that our link here to this live chat goes to everywhere on the internet. So Brian, co-host, take her away. I think Brian's muted.
Yes.
Can you hear me now?
There we go.
Welcome, Jim, Morgan. Appreciate y'all guys coming on the show. It was good meeting you a couple weeks ago down at Aviator. One of my favorite places to visit ever. And every time I go down there, I just meet incredible talented people. The instructors are just awesome. But we're interested in hearing your story tonight. What led you to get into training, why you picked Aviator, how your training went, and learn about how you selected your gear, and how your flying is going since you've left training. I know that was just a couple of weeks ago though. So, but anyway, tell us a little bit about yourself. Jim, we'll start off with you. If you want to start and tell us, a little bit about your background and what brings you here tonight.
Well, sure. I suppose like most people that's in the paramotors, we've had a long fascination with flying. I can remember back, one of my favorite villains was the Penguin in Batman. He would fly around with that umbrella. That doesn't work, by the way. But fast forward, I was in the Navy, did a lot of flying there, enjoyed that, got over 4,000 hours as a Naval Aircrewman. After retiring, was working as a public educator. My son, also very interested in aviation. We were both into radio control aircraft, building and flying lots of stuff. He is a nut when it comes, and very able at doing things without a whole lot of guidance. He can put together and make it fly very well. Me, on the other hand, I have to study very hard. But because of that RC interest that we had, I was very much plugged into the whole Flite Test hobbyist group. And they're out of Ohio. And in 2017, they had a bunch of guys come and do a show, the Paradigm team out of Lake Wales. They're many of the same guys who instruct there with Aviator PPG. They showed up there, and that's when they became a radar blip on us, for us. I got to meet one of those guys, see them all fly, and we thought that was pretty incredible. Fast forward a couple years more, 2019, I was getting out of education, getting out of a few different things, looking to move here to North Carolina, where we're at now. And we talked about, what about this paramotor thing? What if that was a hobby that we could enjoy and maybe even grow into some kind of way to bring in some money? So we did a introductory thing in New Hampshire, where we ran off a mountain with a wing overhead. They taught us how to kite, and that kind of locked it in. It's like, okay, this is something that I'll really enjoy. This is something I could dig into. I'll enjoy this. So it was shortly after that, what we did was we scheduled a training date for Aviator PPG. We did a lot of checking around, seeing who had good reputation, who had good training and everything. We settled in on them. And basically we did the payment plan because he was still overseas. And so we set a date far enough ahead so that as soon as he got back, pretty much, we would be ready to go to training. So come November 16th of 2020, this year, that's when the great countdown that a lot of people who are on the chats, the countdown was actually at 0, and we were there at training, and boy, did we enjoy the training. Boy, did we enjoy the training. So I'm fortunate enough to have a lot of great kids. This one here, though, he is so plugged into this stuff, and he has blessed me so richly. He bought me my wing. So I didn't pick out a wing, although I kind of did, because he was looking over my shoulder and seeing what I was interested in. He bought me my first wing. He got in touch with the guys at Aviator, And he says, this is what I want to get my dad. I'm going to get him the custom colors. So my youngest boy bought this old man, his first wing. And that's the wing I flew at Aviator after And so I'm enjoying that. And so now I went and bought myself a paramotor before I left there, brought that back. I'm still getting that together. I finally got it started for the first time last night. Still working out the whole mixture issue there and what's going on there, but looking forward to getting that together. And that's a gravity defiant paramotor, by the way.
So I got a question, Jim. When and where did you get your first wing, your very first wing?
Good question. I am so sorry. My apologies. So my son, he's over there, and we're like, we've got a long time. What are we going to do with all this time that we got? We got to do something. And we're like, maybe we can get a secondhand wing. If we could get a secondhand wing that, we'll go in halves and we'll just do some kiting. I'll have it over here. I'll send it over to you over there. And so we figured, okay, that's what we'll do. So I'm on these chats and I am like doing prolific typing and chatting and communicating. And I'm like, hey, does anybody know anybody that's got a secondhand wing that they'd sell to us, at a reasonable price? And Kevin Can Fly chimed in.
Kevin Can Fly?
The Kevin Can Fly, yeah.
Holy moly, you
I've
know
heard of this guy. He's pretty famous.
I've heard of him.
Wow.
So I had not heard of him. I didn't know who he was or anything. Tell me about how you pay with this not PayPal, but some other thing. Maybe it was PayPal. I don't remember. Some other thing that was not cash, something that an old guy like me would know about.
Cash App.
So he said, hey, I've got an old Volt, air design Volt. I'll sell you. It's a higher rated wing. You shouldn't be flying with it, but it would be something for you to really develop some skills. And since I don't have a big, deep pocketbook, I'm like, you know what? I'll be happy to pay in frustration what I don't want to pay in money. So we went in halves. We bought it, and he sent it out to me from Oregon, right?
Yep.
Out to Maine. And from then on, we spent a good deal of that year just working on getting that until Morgan bought me my own wing, and then he took that one home after he was visiting. And so we spent a good portion of that year just working our ground skills. So when it came to us being at Aviator, we were all over that kiting thing and the towing that I had down.
So that gives you a huge advantage.
So thank you again, Kevin. You're a great person, and you've been a great help and encouragement all along the way, not just that, by the way.
Did spending 200 days playing with that rag get you at least into the ballpark of where you wanted to be with it?
Absolutely. In fact, before we ever went to, and we've got videos, Morgan, we were out at Cape Hatteras with our wings, and with your wing first, that was the first thing. Everything we wanted to do, we would beat up with that wing first. So we weren't too worried about it because we didn't spend a whole lot on it. But because the first wing that we were getting each other off the ground, like doing some hand towing, was with that wing. The first time that Morgan was doing any kind of slope soaring was on that wing. Well, so I guess we did do a little bit of flying, but it was fun. And
that's the whole point, though. Feel the lines, get associated with how to clip in, how to associate the wing with your body, and just to start feeling the dance. And if you guys manage to do it on a $400 wing, then
right. And a dance is a good analogy because there is things that the wing does, and you can lead it, and it can do what it kind of wants to do. But I mean, there is a dance going on, and when you start developing that muscle memory and seeing what it's doing and know how to react so that you can dance with it properly, then I mean, I thought that was huge. And for someone like me, that things like this do not come naturally, I needed a lot of that extra work. I needed that homework to get me up to anywhere close to Morgan's type of skills, because he can kind of look at it and says, yeah, I got that. And then it just makes it happen.
Hey, I'm curious what wing he bought you.
He bought me a Ozone Kona. It's not the Kona 2 that's out now. It's the Kona 1. And he got me custom colors, that's an extra expense too. So, I'm blessed with great kids, and Morgan is, wow, one great kid.
That's a really good dual purpose wing. If you want to go free fly that wing, you can free fly that wing. It does really well at it.
Because of all the stuff I was doing on the chats, that was one of the things that was very attractive free flying is still very attractive to me. And that was one of those wings that's like had that dual purpose. You can do both with it.
So you keep saying what a great kid he was. I'm wondering if he wouldn't have gotten you that wing, would he still be a great kid?
Ooh. Ooh, I see what you did there.
And that brings up the question.
He has blessed me in many ways before that and since that. So, yes.
Now that he's big enough to win in a fight, I have to say yes.
Wow.
How about you, Morgan? Tell us about your experience, man. Or sorry, Sean, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, Morgan, let us know something about you and tell us about your experience.
I mean, what is there to say now that he's pretty much said everything about me? No,
just continue to say how wonderful you are and how he owes you something now.
Yeah, he loves his kids, and he's shown it his whole life, and that was I feel so in debt to all the all the moments in life where I could have shown that same kind of gratitude, and now I'm able to being in the Navy, and it's nice to finally give back to the father that's raised me and brought me through all these paths. But that's what this whole moment was I've grown up, and I was born in the Navy because of him. We've moved along because of him. I've seen him fly, seen him come home from deployments, come home from the P3 Orion. I got to touch the buttons inside that plane. I got to see it take off. I got to fly in one in the flight engineer's seat. I've done so much with aviation, and even like at 2 years old, I don't know how, but I remember the C5 Galaxy and the enormous belly. I mean, the plane's enormous in and of itself, but seeing helicopters and like Humvees in it, like that, everything was just so cool. And so it's always been a pleasure to be around aircraft. And so leading all the way up to here, it was all little incremental steps, like the RC aviation, things that were cheap that could, get the fix for us. Like, oh, that's flying. That's cool. And so while doing that, you're learning about all these things like electronics, electricity, or making certain cuts to wood, understanding how wood bends. And it's like, wow, how many things you learn through the hobby to get you to, okay, now it's time for us to get in the air. We're so ready for this. And so I was in Bahrain. I also have friends that I grew up with that are just itching to fly as well. And they're actually both in the Navy as well. One's a naval flight officer for C2 Greyhounds, and the other one's a 60 pilot. And so same thing, that they're itching to fly, but one's doing it as a career, and he just loves going back to paramotoring. He says it's way more fun. And so, but before there, my father and I were talking about it. We've been talking about it. Like, hey, so are you thinking about doing this? He's like, yeah, that seems cool. And so we're thinking about a year out. So anything could happen. So I'm like, yeah, write my name down. Let's just, put it down. And so, yeah, paying it off, weekly, seeing like, oh, $70. Where does that just go to? It's because I'm doing this I keep forgetting. I'm like, that's right. And then eventually November comes up, it's all paid off for. And I'm like, yeah, we're going to Florida. That's right. Like, this is happening. But meantime, I'm messing around with this wing whenever I can, which is whenever, like, there's moments or countries that don't allow certain things, and like just regular kite, like, like a one line kite in Bahrain, they just don't allow that anywhere. So they're not going to allow me to fly this giant paraglider. They're going to flag the police. Police is going to come down and say, no, you can't do that. And I'm going to get my hand slapped. So for the whole time I was in Bahrain, I couldn't do any of that. So I can only do that when I was on leave. And I try to take as much advantage of that wing. By the way, thank you so much, Kevin. That wing's got such a history with me, and it's kind of a baby of mine, but like I get to beat up too. So it's really, really fun. And
it's like having that first car you don't care about. Like, you love it, but you don't care about it. You're like, oh, right. You put a scratch. You're like, fuck, more character.
Oh yeah. and you get to learn it too. Like all the little stuff, like, oh, this kind of a weight shift actually has this kind of effect on this wing, and actually pulling this much brake has that kind of, so it's like, it's very, like, it intimately. And so it's like, you're very comfortable with it. And so I just started liking air design, and that Volt, I was like, oh, I just want that. And I'm like, oh, it's not really what you want for a first wing. So I'm like, okay, I got to figure something out. So which leads to the wing I got is a Charger by Mac Para. Those friends I were talking about, they met Joe Hall in Pennsylvania. I don't know if anybody's familiar with Joe Hall, but apparently he's a big guy over there in Pennsylvania and selling Chargers and, giving people training. And so I was just like, okay, let me do the research. And then I trust them like so much. And so they recommended the Charger. I got to like kite the Charger a lot, and I was really loving it. And so he sold it to me at a good price. And I was like, yeah, I'd like that. And cause he was using one, and I was like, okay, I'll buy that at a discounted price. And I thought that was really cool of him. And so that's why I got the Charger. I do love the Ozones. I was, really itching at the Spiders and, the Roadster. Like those were all really fun to fly, but I'm flying the Charger right now. I know I jumped around with the timeline, but Bahrain came back. I'm on my terminal leave. We go to Aviator, and yeah, while I was on terminal leave in Virginia, I was at what's called Mount Trashmore. It's a beautiful landfill, like expired landfill that's now a beautiful park. And I was like, I love the wind over there, especially in Virginia Beach area. It's so nice, and it was kind of laminar too, being up a little higher on the hill. And in like 3 days to a week time frame, I just learned so much just because I was so devoted to kiting, and everything was just clicking. It was natural. I didn't have to think about it anymore. Could go reverse, front, and so all that just carried right over to the November time frame when I went to Aviator, and it was just like, oh, this is so easy. Let's go, Fletch. Come on, I'm tired.
So I gotta interrupt you and ask you a question, Morgan.
Yeah, go for it.
When you went from that Volt to a nice new Charger, did your kiting feel like the easiest thing all of a sudden? Did the wing just make everything just liven right up and become so much easier to do?
Oh yeah, the Volt has some age to it, so it's got some porosity, it's got some weight where it shouldn't be, and it's kind of a slugger, but and forgiving sometimes. Whereas the Charger is responsive; it wants to stay up. It's got that reflex. It's like it kicks up real quick, and then my inputs are so much faster. And I'm just like, oh yeah, that's nice. And so my learning curve just again it hit another bump, and that was a good moment.
I kept telling your dad, I said, as soon as you guys can get that Volt and kite it like it's a comfortable thing, going to a new wing is gonna be like, well, what am I doing? You're like, it's just wow. You just don't even hold the toggles. You just wait, shift back and forth. You just do whatever you want. All of a sudden, life just becomes fun and easy. Kiting is entertaining. It's not even a chore. It's amazing.
Oh, yeah.
It's like putting weight on your baseball bat and then knocking it off, and you're like, wow, the bat just feels so much easier to swing.
Oh yeah, and they all kind of have their own characteristics, like you're saying. I would say the Volt, probably a brand new Volt, would probably feel better than the older one. But yeah, they all have their characteristics, and they're all it was much simpler to fly a lighter wing that's responsive to what you're doing.
Yep.
Real quick, I want to say something real quick. I want to do a shout out to TJ Moore, sent us $5 in the super chat. We really appreciate you. Real quick, Brian, is there any way you can go through our chat and say hello to the people that are in the chat? My internet is so slow, I'm not able to see.
Yeah, we got Bill H. Sean is in the chat tonight. Slow Days, John Wayne,
Yay.
Will Fly, Eric Lear. I said Bill H. already. Kent Stanley, Fly Flamingo, Walter's in the house from down under. Dwayne Crow, Mark Mcelroy.
Well, that's a good thing. If Walter's in the chat, that's a good thing. That means tomorrow is still coming.
I know.
For sure. We got Pear Swag in the chat. He's on the show too.
Hey, Pear Swag.
There you go. Thank you, all my chatters out there in chatter world. I love you all.
Yeah, sorry if I left anybody off. There's a Danny here, but we got 24 in the chat right now, so not bad.
Hey, Sean, remember what you said? You said you would send a T-shirt to anybody in the chat, and that means Walter's in the chat, so that's going to cost.
John Masker's in the chat as well.
That is true, but I'd have to send it to Walter, and that's a long way. So I got $5 from TJ Moore. Thank you very much. That will definitely help on the shipping to Australia if he wins. We also have Never Trust a Skinny Chef Shane in the house. Welcome. Glad that you
How's it going, guys?
What's up, Shane? Glad you can make it, man. Sorry about your. Glad you can make it.
Yeah, it's my daughter's puppy, but yeah, she's been here 13 years, and anyways, so let's party on, party people.
We're partying on right now. Make sure that you say hi. Let us know that you are watching, because we are going to be giving away a t-shirt from PierceWagUSA.com here in just a moment. Jim and Morgan are our guests tonight. They are a father and son paramotor newbies. They went to Aviator, and they're telling our story tonight. We'll be giving away that t-shirt here in a couple of minutes, so make sure you say hi in the chat. Jim, tell us about that first time that you made it up in the air. You did your solo already, right? And how many times have you flown so far?
Well, okay, so it depends on how you define that first. So we did our introductory thing in New Hampshire back in July of 2019. That's where we ran off and just did a coast kind of little ride down. That was exciting. You know, you could hear me probably miles away cheering out how great that was. First time we got off the ground in our towing, that was great. In fact, there at Aviator Paramotor, they did, I think they said for the first time, they allowed Morgan and I to actually release from the tow while we were up.
Really?
Yes. So
is that not what normally happens?
No, they said they've never done that before, and Morgan and I were the first. So on our third tows, they said, yeah, go ahead and pull the release, and then you can just come down without the tow rope. And so we felt a little bit honored to have that. So that was excellent. And funny thing,
to be the first
at Paramotor, we were doing our we were going to do taxi practice. And I'm looking over at the next guy, and he's like, boy, he's really throttling up, and his tiptoe, he's off the ground. That's kind of, that's not taxi, he's flying. And basically, I guess that's what they do to take the pressure off, which is good, because I wouldn't have gotten any sleep otherwise. And so I taxied off into the air right after him.
Alert.
Yeah. And I was like super hyper vigilant. I'm like, oh gosh, this is really happening. Just listen to the guy, but this is really happening. Focus on your instructor. But wow, this is really happening. That's what I was going through my head. And then I landed, and then it's like, wow.
You have a video of that by any chance? Any video of your solos?
I think we do. I don't have it ready to hand over now. It might actually be on Morgan's phone, because flight buddies record each other's flights. So if anybody has it, I think it'd be his. He might have passed it to me, but I don't know if I have it at the ready now. It's definitely not.
All right.
Now, y'all were partners in the class, right? They sized you up on body size and weight. Y'all were wingmen?
We were wingmen, even though I'm, a good 20 pounds, 30 pounds more than Morgan or more. So, but they let us, work through that, and that was okay. We shared equipment up until they had paramotors for everybody. And once we did, he had a different paramotor, different wing and everything. Before we go on, I just want to do one other bit of gratitude. Thanks for how we got into this. When we were thinking about this back in July of 2019, my wife was visiting family. She's from Spain. She was in Spain. And of course I had to run this by her, because this is a major life change, right? So I'm saying, hey, honey, your son and I, we're thinking about this whole paramotor thing. And if it pans out, there would be possibilities for us stateside here, of course, because it looks like it's a sport that's still growing. And there's also something that they do there in Spain. And it's quite a big thing close to where she's from. There's a place that's called Algodonales in Spain, and they do a lot of free flight there. And so I sent her that message. The very next day, she sends me back pictures. She went to Algodonales. She drove like 30, 40 minutes to this town, to the thing. She got me a t-shirt and everything. She was so for it. She was going to try to get a tandem free flight just to beat us, but in support of us also. So I thought that was just like such a gem and such a way to
Did she get you a nice big life insurance policy too, along with all that? Because I'd be a little bit.
No.
No, just teasing. That's awesome to have the support of your significant other, man. I can't.
Yeah, in fact, she has very little interest in the sport otherwise. But when it came down to the countdown, and we were driving, we sold our place in Maine. The very next day, we were coming down to North Carolina. We did all our house hunting. We did that for a few weeks. We closed on the house. The very next morning, we're driving down to Lake Wales. and she was getting enthused, even though she really has no interest in flying. So I'm just very
really
blessed
awesome
to have a wife that gave me that support. And even yesterday, when I finally got that motor started, she's like, I really hope you get that thing started. I really want it just for you. And so, it was nice to have that support.
That's awesome. Yeah. Very
That
cool.
is really awesome. That is so awesome. I wonder, Morgan, are you still there? Do you have any of these solo videos on your phone that you can share?
For some reason, I was the sole person like recording all these videos, and I'd posted them on the WhatsApp group. But for his videos, since I airdropped it to him, and I clear my memory stuff real quick, so I don't have it. I know he has it because I definitely airdropped it to him. But I got other stuff from other students, just not of me.
Oh my goodness. All right. We'll definitely need to see some of those. I know that you got a .com, Jim. What's the .com and what's going to be on that?
So the .com that I did was way back when we decided this. I said, you know what, I'm going to do something. I don't know what's going to be on there. So it's more of a placeholder than anything, but it's a placeholder that says, this is what I'm about if this is going to be something. So, I'm a guy who likes to serve. And I'm a man who is big in my faith, my family, and my friends, and that's what I want to be about. So if there's a niche that I can fit into, not to be a competitor, but more of someone who can complement or contribute to the sport, that's why I got it there. I don't know that it'll develop into something, but it's there in case it does. It's funny, and I also got a YouTube channel. Now it's funny because the website somehow is worth money, even though I haven't posted anything. And somehow my YouTube channel, I think I have 8 or 11 subscribers, even though I have yet to post a single video.
Bots. What is the site, Jim?
Angel
Wings
Paramotor.com.
Paramotor, no S.
Angel Wings Paramotor.com.
Very cool. Very cool.
There it is.
Hey, I know those guys.
That was Morningside PPG, by the way, that we went to for the paragliding intro.
Okay.
Oh yeah, over New Hampshire.
Very, very cool.
Hey, I want to go back and ask Jim about his taxi that he did at Aviator for his first flight. Did you have no idea that you were going to be getting your first flight in that day?
No one could believe that I, who am on so many of these videos and so many chats, was so unaware that we were actually going to taxi into the area. So I had no idea, and I slept really well that night. Not every night I had slept so well, but that night I slept well, and I'm like, oh wow, we're doing this. And so no, I had no idea. It did catch me by surprise, and it was a good thing because I would have been beside myself, just not getting sleep, and so that was a good thing.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. They pulled that same trick on me, and I had not seen a bunch of people's videos of going through Aviator, other than the videos that Aviator put out themselves. And so that was pretty cool. I had no idea we were going to fly that day. I thought we were just going to practice taxiing, and then of course the first guy goes up, and it's on then.
So I can tell you from an instructor's standpoint, if we work with a student and we have them in the mind frame that they're going to taxi, then their mental state is controlling the wing on the ground and not getting into the air. That's not the mental process. And so as an instructor, and this is probably as you experience, so you get a good inflation, you get good control, and then they just start walking you into more power till you're full power, and then all of a sudden you're flying. And you do it and you look back and you go, holy smokes, I didn't realize that I was even that committed to it, because your brain was working through incrementally. If we tell somebody they're going to fly, they'll inflate the wing and then they commit to power and they'll take off in an oscillation. They'll sit down too soon. So working through that taxi phase really reassures the control aspect. And then your takeoff is generally nice and smooth, because if your taxi isn't, then they just shut you down and you reset the wing and start over. So it's just an incremental phase, but that's the way we do it. At least that's the way I do it. And it's, I learned it from other folks. It's not my way of method, but that's the method for it. And it seems to work really well. It keeps people in a calm state. And like I tell most people, this sport is probably like when they talk about football, it's like it's 80% mental and 20% physical. Your mental status is paramount for your success. When you start to get frustrated or overwhelmed or flustered, you start to make mistakes, you start to make bad decisions. When you stay calm and methodical and work through it step by step, everything goes easy. And then after you've done it 20 plus times, it becomes routine. And then after routine, it just becomes something you do second nature. So it's just a long marathon process of enjoying the education. And it sounds like you guys have been doing a phenomenal job of that part of it.
So there's a question in the chat about your Dinkies, Garcia. He wants to know from Jim what it was like to see your son take flight for the first time.
I love my kids so much. And yeah. Morgan's got it right. You know, it was so exhilarating to get up in the air myself. And so I came around and I landed, exhilarating. But to see my son, yeah, I did get teary-eyed. And it reminded me when I first saw him run track in when he was in junior high. He was running, and I didn't see a little kid running. I saw a young man running. And the pride and the good feelings were just like coming out of my eyes. So that's what I saw there also at Lake Wales was, it's like, here we are, we're doing this father and son thing, and here's him having his success story running off into the air, and it's so cool. So all the flying that we've done, the best flying, if any flying at all, happens usually when we're together. All the RC flying that we would do, it would be together. And usually when he's out of town, I hardly ever flew. I did once in a while, but when he's in town, that's when the flying really happens. Because, if you're going to do something alone, not near as fun as doing it and having that fellowship with somebody else. And who better than someone in your family or your own son? Wow.
I got a flip side to that question. Morgan, how did it feel to see your dad fly into the air the first time? And
Here we
how'd you
go.
feel when he made it safely on the ground?
Okay, so different feeling. I would say it's almost the exact. I feared for him.
Were you afraid he was gonna like break a hip? You know.
And rightly so. I have to work at my talent. It doesn't come naturally.
Being with him, doing the things in stages before Aviator, there's always this moment where I can only say so much of what I know, where I'm not helping him out. He's got to do it. He's got to learn it himself. And I know me just saying it, it's not going to help him. He just has to go through it, and he compartmentalizes a lot more than I do, which honestly it helps him in many aspects, is like in safety and slowing down and making sure he's methodical. Those are the pros in that. But man, in the cons, when you need to be reactive in certain times in these phases of flight. But with paragliding, with paramotoring, everything's safe as long as you do what your instructor is telling you to do. And so when you have that control and where, hey, do what he says and you should be good. That's awesome, because he can compartmentalize and do what that guy says and just step by step. So here, power, inflate. And so he's trying not to focus on what's actually happening and more on what the instructor is saying. And so that was one of the greatest advantages for him, because if he was to do that on his own, I think he'd be stuck on either one thing, like maybe pulling. Oh, why is he falling? Because I remember when he'd be falling, and what everybody wants to do is when they fall, they put their hand up and catch themselves, and then they end up dumping it even more. And so I feared that was going to happen. And so the feeling of fear was the first thing I saw when he took off. I'm like, all right, just keep giving power is all I could think of. Like, just keep giving it power and keep listening to the instructor. And then when he was up there, the emotional feeling happened when we were both in the air. And then I saw him coming up underneath me. And that's when I was just tickled. It was just tickled beyond imagine. I'm like, we're doing it. This is it. And I'm kind of almost ignoring the instructor at this point. Just like, oh, let us do our thing. And then, but yeah, super excited and thrilled to be up in the air with my dad. At that point, that was fun.
Did you have comms between the two of you?
We had accessibility to comms, but we were more in our training phase, so we weren't pressing buttons. We were just keeping our hands up at our ears and toggling.
All right, guys, it is 7:46 right now, 45 minutes into our podcast. So we're going to give away a shirt from paraswagusa.com. We have two different shirts today. Actually, Cameron, if you want to show that on your side, on your screen, you should probably be able to see it a little bit better since I have a virtual background. And we are going to spotlight him real quick. You ready? Boom. So we have this one from Paraswag USA, has a pocket up front. Nice. And on the back, what does it show?
Fly latte.
Fly a latte from paraswagusa.com. Fly high, fly free. Now we have that in what, a large, or is that a large?
It's extra large.
Extra large? Oh, that must be mine.
I've got a large.
Oh, so we got a large. We got a large and an extra large available. We also have this one. If you want to show this one, I think this one's different.
There's also.
Oh yeah. And for every shirt that we give away, we're also going to be giving away a sticker. Paraswag USA.
I heard there was some of those kind of stuff coming towards me, but I haven't seen anything yet.
So we got. What's the other one?
Hey, we dropped it all off at Sean's house, Shane.
Yeah,
I'll never see it then.
We got this really nice one, fly or die. Is there anything underneath of it?
What size is that shirt right there?
What size is that shirt? Is that a large? You know, anything that you had extra large, I'm keeping.
Hey, Sean, I'm going to interrupt real quick. On our skelly there on the fly or die, that's the same skelly that's inside the fly latte cup, like Starbucks does the heart. We have skelly inside of our coffee cup.
Cute.
You couldn't really see it on the
Yeah, that was a
shirt
very talented bistro, by the way.
All right, good deal. All right, thank you, Mr. Cameron. So we're going to give away one of those two in size large, and one of them is an extra large. Just let us know when you win. Make sure you have to be present to win, by the way. So make sure that
I'm here. I'm here ready to win.
Here?
I'm here.
All right. We got JP on the spinning wheel. And
JP hates me.
This is true.
Right?
This
Are
is
you
true.
ready for this spinning wheel, sir? And we actually have a bonus T-shirt that we're going to be giving away. We'll talk about that in just a moment. So stay tuned. How much time do you need to do the spinning wheel, Mr. JP? Oh, that was quick.
That much time.
Hey. All right, we have everybody on here.
Does anyone not see their name? You got just a second to speak up in the chat. I'm pretty sure I got everyone though.
Wish we could zoom in on there so we could see.
I don't see me.
Looks like it's gonna be a long wait for that shirt, Shane.
Yeah.
I'm still waiting on the other stuff. I'm just what?
What other stuff?
Well, Mark Mcelroy, if you're listening, man, I forgot about you. I'll get that shirt in the mail tomorrow, I promise.
Oh,
there
so
you go.
let me tell you, I got to meet Mark's sister and brother-in-law this past weekend.
Give me that red shirt down there.
Cool.
Where we I met them two at a gas station, and he handed me a large cylinder.
Whoa, this sounds kind of.
Hold on.
I'm just saying.
Come on now, this is PPG rated.
Exactly, and it was filled with a bunch of stickers from a paratrailer. Just so you guys know.
Oh wow!
Yeah, I know you got a big logo he made up for you.
No, I got
giving that away.
So, Mark, if I haven't looked in it yet, but it should be 1, 2, 3, 4, at least 4 large stickers. I can't remember.
You know, I'm impressed that you counted to 4 to get to 4 on those 4.
I only had to take both shoes off to get to there. So, how long is this thing gonna spin for?
We were making sure we got everyone, and apparently I missed Dwayne Crow. So I got you,
I don't see anybody in the chat saying they're not on it.
Dwayne said he wasn't.
Okay.
He literally just jumped in the room.
Good.
Will Fly, Kelby Cox. Yeah, these are all people I missed. Whoops. Sorry, guys.
Jim,
logged in?
CR120.
Yes.
Dude, how's it how's it how's it feel? I'm just saying.
Is she on her phone or the computer?
Everything is different. Everything is different now. So when we
It's
do
kinda hard to
house
do on
shop,
the
when
phone.
we shop for a house, you're looking to see if the yard is big enough to do
Yep.
you
Right.
I'll jump
You're
on the
looking at
computer.
power lines. You're looking at the neighborhood, where the power line's at, and you're checking the weather. Everything is different now.
Yeah.
I-
So I've been in many chats with you, or chat in rooms or whatever.
Yeah.
Now that I've seen your video or seen you fly, I mean, is it anything like you thought it was going to be? All the videos that you've watched, did any of that help you before flight?
I would say yes. Like I was saying before, Morgan's got natural ability. So, I mean, when it comes to physical stuff, he can do that. But I have to study, and I have to study hard. I'm really trying to understand the nuts and the bolts of everything that's going on, and why things happen when they happen. That gives me an internal security of what I'm getting into. As far as what it felt like, I know what flying feels like. I knew what it's going to be like somewhat, but to be dangled out underneath the thing, that is different, a different type of flying. And so that part of it is still something I'm still growing into, that enjoyment. But yes, that was real, especially that last day when the tension was kind of like not there anymore. And it's like, okay, I've got this. I can actually do a landing without having someone in my ear, and it's okay. And so, yeah.
So you have flown since school without an instructor in your ear?
Not since we left the school. The last couple days, they were backing off as far as talking me in on the landing. The last day there was none at all, and I was just cranking around. And then after I landed, AJ says, I was watching this one and that one, and
Right.
this is what you should look for. But I mean, and he said, sometimes it's really good for us to just back off and let you process through what we've taught and dial it in on your own. You can't always just correct somebody with the words. You got to let them work through some of things. I'm a lot that way. And have I flown since then? No, because I'm still working on getting my paramotor working. Yesterday was the first day I got it started. I'm having trouble with the mixture. But yesterday I took the airbox off, started with the first pull. This morning I did it again without full throttle, and it started again with the first pull. So what I need to do is see if I can put the airbox back on and see if it'll do that again without the first pull. Otherwise, maybe I'll be looking at making some mixture adjustments. But that's a major thing holding me back. Otherwise, my wife, she's even though we've got this house that needs a lot of work, she's affording me the time to do it. I just need to get my equipment.
Well, I will tell you, the very first time that I took off, which was out of the compound after I went to school, and I had nobody in my ear. I had no comms of any kind. I think that was worse than the very first flight I took, because the very first flight I took, I didn't know I was taking off. And now you know that you're setting up to take off. And for me, I mean, that was once you've done your first one with nobody in your ear and no one telling you what to do or correct, after that, it's a lot easier.
Let me just say this, because I do so much digging and looking at the ins and outs of it, I think it stays pretty solid in my head on what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. Because if I ever need to, I think back. But I can tell you, I can still hear my instructor in my head. Smooth to full, and going around, hands up, and just a little bit of pressure, all that stuff, and there are things. So I mean, those words are still stuck in my head. So I think, and it's recent enough, I think we'll see. When I get that first flight, maybe I'll have something else to report. But
I just found out that people that are watching this on their cell phone, they can't get to the super chat. Is that correct?
No, you can set up the super chat on your phone.
Just
you gotta set your super chat up.
You just got to tap the super chat icon and then set up your super chat.
So Jim, I've been flying just over a year and almost 2 months. I still, on every launch, hear my instructor in my ear. I hate to admit this, but I never brought my A's up to where he wanted them to be. And sometimes I catch myself slacking even more than I would be in class. So right before I take a deep breath, I'm like, oh yeah, back up here. Okay, arms back. And it's been over a year and I still hear him in my ear. So I hope I hope your instructor had a good voice, because you're going to hear it for a while.
We had Fletch, and Fletch has got a British accent, so you know you can trust him.
Oh, you're good then. Yeah, you're golden.
All right, guys, are we ready to spin?
JP's adding away.
I know
like
JP's
a
ready.
madman.
You should read the last 10 lines on his.
I'm
names
reading
there.
it and I'm kind of laughing over here. it looks like there's a lot of people on the wheel, but it's just him.
You guys ready?
If
3, 2, 1, do it.
we are
Control enter. Here goes.
So we're going to be spinning for a Paraswag USA t-shirt. We have those two that we showed. We have large and extra large. That's all we have as of this moment. If you want something other than that, you can actually talk with Mark and Amy over at Paraswag USA to see if they can get you your own size. But if not,
Mark Mcelroy said something in the chat about having some shirts over at paralife.org.
Oh,
does he have one that he wants to give away tonight?
Oh,
Sean.
PPG.com. I'm sorry.
Sean, maybe slow days.
I think John Wade's got it.
Oh, it's gonna be going to Australia, all the way to Walter. Good day, mate.
I don't think Walter's gonna make it.
Looks like John Wayne's got himself a new shirt.
Yeah, Mr. Wayne, you gotta be here. Yeah.
Hey.
Woo!
John Wayne in the chat still man.
John Wayne.
Yeah.
All right.
Good job, John
Say
Wayne.
something in the chat.
John, make sure that you email me, ppggrandpa@gmail.com. Let me know if you want a large or an extra large, and I'll send it out to you. Of course, I need your mailing address. Don't send your email address. That won't work.
Haven't you seen his movies? John Wayne is a big man. He's going to need like a triple XL. He makes horses look small.
Wayne. That's a whole different John Wayne. You need to send a medium that's going to swim on him.
A medium that's going to swim on him?
Yeah.
Let us know, Mark Mcelroy, in the chat if you want to give away one of your paralifeppg.com t-shirts. But until then, we got one more spin over here. We got a bonus spin. My son's wife is making t-shirts. So real quick, go ahead and tell us about the t-shirt that we are going to spin for now.
Yeah, John replied in the chat, just so you know.
Awesome.
I think medium is a size you get at Ross.
Oh my God.
I've got a t-shirt that I'm gonna give away tonight. It's if you go to my page, www.dragoncampers.com. It's my YouTube page. If you subscribe, you get 20% discount on her Facebook page, Classic Creations. Also, I've got a Redbubble that you can order whatever you want to order on there as well. It'll show you all the designs that I have. I have, I think, 4 designs on there right now. But if you go to subscribe, you get 20% off her page, and that'll help you give a little 20% discount right there.
Nice.
But mostly I hotshot campers is what I'm doing right now. I've got a few how-to videos and whatnot if you want to subscribe to that. So
very cool.
Right.
I'm already
Oops, you're still on mute.
yeah.
Are you going to have your son build you a PPG camper there, Sean? Is that what's going on next?
That's
what
I'm hoping.
With a handicap ramp?
Of course, because I'm a grandpa. So we're going to spin for one of his t-shirts, dragoncamper.com t-shirts. So go ahead and pop the wheel up. Now, if it's overseas, I don't know if I can really send it to you guys, but come on now, help me out here.
Hey, when Amy and I were over there, he was trying to figure out how he was going to put his little scooter up to a wing and fly it.
Well, yeah. All right, so we are spinning now for a dragoncampers.com t-shirt by my son. When you win, make sure you let us know in the super chat that you've won. You must be present to win.
I'm present. I don't see my name on there. Good Lord.
Well, he did say she makes young little girl accessories, so I would fit your personality right on, Shane.
Damn.
I will support it. No problem.
Damn. Hey, there's Emily Dixon. She's the one that makes it.
GMCR 120.
Oh, look, Jim's gonna win him a hair bow tie.
Oh my God.
TJ
Not
Moore.
quite. Almost.
Come on.
No.
TJ Moore is
TJ.
It's all about the green. All about the green.
no TJ Moore.
No, TJ's
No,
gonna get
It's
it.
going to cross the
TJ
line.
Moore. Boom, TJ Moore.
TJ.
Thank you for sending $5. That will help us send
nice.
you the t-shirt.
That'll hopefully cover the shipping, right?
That covers the shipping. Thank you, sir.
Congratulations.
Yeah,
I'm gonna leave this up till TJ says something, but he's been active, I think.
Yeah, TJ, just send me an email, ppggrandpa@gmail.com. Let me know what size and your mailing address, please. And we totally appreciate you. Did Mark Mcelroy say yes, he wants to give away another t-shirt? I didn't hear from
I
him.
haven't heard that from him.
He said you have 3 large and paralifepg.com as well.
That was about my stickers for the Paracamp.
Oh, gotcha.
Which, by the way, I mean, the guy did not have to.
CJ responded. He's here.
Cool.
Okay, good deal. All right.
Speaking of didn't have to, did you guys see Shondor's post the other day on Facebook about the Christmas package Michael Mixer sent him?
No.
So Shondor got sent stickers, like a copious amount of stickers, a t-shirt, I Fly Indiana, I think it is, or a jersey, a pilot jersey, like the Aviator Paradigm jerseys, and a couple other things. It was really, really cool. Mike sent him all that stuff. I just wanted to say that. Shondor had gotten a new vehicle, and so he asked for some stickers so that way he could put, paraglider, paramotor stuff on his new rig. And so Mike sent him a Christmas package with all kinds of goodies. It was really, really nice of him.
I think I'm gonna have to send him an email saying I got a new vehicle.
I've been asking Shondor all year long to jump on here and do a podcast with us. Hey, since we have everybody on here, Morgan, if you're there, come back. Never Trust Skinny Chef Shane, come back. We got to do a thumbnail for our picture here. Hey, and Jim and Morgan, while we're waiting, how long can you chat with us? It's a little bit after 8. Do you need to go, or can you hang out with us?
I got about 30 more minutes.
Okay, that's good. That's good. 30 more minutes.
I'm back.
You're back. Good deal.
Did I hear correctly? Morgan, you have a baby on the way?
Yeah, I do. In April, my wife is due.
Good deal.
Congratulations.
Yeah, we're excited.
So this will be your first kid, right?
This will be my first. It's a daughter.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Are you deployed right now, or are you home?
I'm on terminal leave. That's why you see all this long, out of regulation hair. So yeah, I'm getting out. I'm getting out in 2 days out of the Navy.
Right on.
Awesome. Well, we got 30 minutes to chat with you right after we do this thumbnail. So let's do a thumbnail, and we got 30 minutes to chat with you guys some more. JP?
Jim and Morgan, to both of you, I want to say thank you very much for your service. It's been an honor to chat with you today.
Hey, thank you for your support.
Thank you,
Yeah, let me make sure I turn up.
Are you?
Let me make sure I turn up my new lighting.
Okay.
Whoa! Turn it down! Turn it down!
We can see you.
We can see you now. That's bad. Turn that off.
Ready? 1, 2, 3. Okay.
Kevin.
There's a slight chance we might need to do it again because I have no idea where this goes.
What?
Hey, what's the keystroke? What's the keystroke?
Windows print screen. The Windows symbol and print screen.
No, for Mac.
Oh, Control Shift 3.
It's
Control
JP.
Shift 3. All right.
So
I'm going to do one over here on the Mac real quick. Everyone, get ready. In 3, 2, 1, cheeseburger. It went boop. Does it supposed to go boop?
Oh, Control Tab.
Oh my God! I keep hitting this button. You're gonna kill my new selfie light.
I'm exhausted now. I need to get
Control Tab 3 or what?
I don't know. I do it by feel. I don't know what the keyboard says.
It should be
Shift Command 3. Shift Command 3.
Oh my God.
Oh, Shift Command 3. Okay, Shift Command 3. Ready?
Last time. Let's go.
3, 2,
Third
1,
time charm.
Paramotors, cheese. All right, I heard a chink chink, so there we go.
Cool.
That should work. All right.
Oh,
I need to write that down. Control Command Shift 3.
And if you want to draw, and then Sean, if you want to draw a box, it's Shift Command 4, and then it lets you draw a box. So that's kind of nice if you want to just specify it to a certain area.
Why didn't you ask Jim to begin with? Then we
I
won't
need to from now on. You say Shift Command what?
So Shift Command 3 just does the full screen. Shift Command 4, your cursor will turn in a crosshair, and then you do the two corners, and then when you click, then that will be your capture that you do.
All right, we have a new tech guy in the house.
Cool. I know, huh? I'm like,
Jim's
what?
got a new job now.
Okay,
Disco
that's
Shane.
cool.
Sorry,
I can already
baby.
see the smoke pouring out of Mark's ears as he's trying to figure out how to utilize this information.
All right.
I just grab my phone and then it makes.
She takes a picture of
We're
the
on a
screen.
Mac, so I'm trying to absorb that information. We actually are on a Mac,
works.
so I was like, okay, so let me.
I still don't know it all. All right. Let's get back to Jim and Morgan. Since you got 30 more minutes with us, what is the coolest place that you've flown so far?
So
Aviator.
Oh yeah, I guess I think Aviator's been such a highlight because we went to AJ's wedding. I don't know if you guys seen that video. That was it was kind of a fun event. Just having finished class, or not finished class, but finished all our maiden flights, and we're all flying on by ourselves.
My
We get to see the
invitation
sunrise
must be in the mail
sunset.
still.
Along with the shirt.
Yeah.
So those sunrises and sunsets, they were awesome, especially on his wedding day. It was like a perfect day for all that. I thought that was so beautiful, and you could see the cows and the alligators, everything.
I've never been anywhere where you see such consistently good sunsets and sunrises as Aviator. It's like at least 3 out of 4 nights, man, you're gonna have something breathtaking. But that was a pretty cool ceremony. AJ and Beckina, no doubt. I was lucky to be there to see that too. And yeah, I actually had one of my first.
Hey, you went too, Brian?
Yeah. Oh, you didn't get your invitation?
I did not. It must
On
be
the
in the
mail.
mail still. Huh.
Who did they have flying overhead?
They're still talking about Brian at Aviator and how they can't get rid of him.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're trying to come up with a plan. They haven't succeeded yet.
We
Hey,
keep
Bob.
bringing deep fried turkeys to dinner, you know.
They invited all the cool people from Ohio. JP, you didn't get an info? You didn't get an invite?
Okay, I see how it is, Shane. All right.
Oh wait.
It went out on the corporate Napa server. It's probably why you missed it.
Okay.
Hey, Brian.
Yeah.
Who do they have fly over during their ceremony at the end?
Oh, so they flew there individually. Beckina and AJ flew there in their own paramotors, foot launch, and then they took off in a tandem unit and left together to symbolize their marriage.
Oh.
But
Didn't they
actually,
have
Eric
fly
Farewell
over?
officiated it. And there was more than a dozen paramotors that went back and forth. So
Okay, that's what it was.
it was pretty cool.
What happened
But yeah,
to you, Brian?
So yeah, I was flying there with my wingman, and I had some of my first almost engine outs. The engine bogged, so I did the safe thing. I turned around, went back to the airport. I jumped in the truck, haul butted over there, and turns out it was a good thing because I ended up being a ride back for a couple guys that couldn't get back into the air.
So that worked pretty good. Luckily, it was at the same place I was camping at the Suzanne Chalet. So that was really cool. But it was a cool thing to be a part of. If you go to Aviator Show's website, it's called Paramotor Wedding. Reese is a professional photographer. He did a really, really good job with it.
Yeah, he got my totally not great landing where the wind came right down in front of me, just right there for everybody to see. But it was okay. I enjoyed that too. I have to agree with Morgan. That was one of the highlights of that was our cross country that we did. One other flight there was a couple other things that was special as far as flying. One, looking over and seeing your son on your side, that was really cool. There was another flight where we had an especially low cloud layer, and that was really cool because now you have another dimension that you're working with, and so that was really cool. It's like you go a little high, it's like, okay, my head is actually starting to get into the clouds. I'm gonna like stay below it. And it was just a few hundred feet up. So,
hey Jim, did you and Morgan venture over there to see the eagle's nest by chance?
Definitely, yes. That was like a daily thing. Go check out the eagles, see if you can see any alligators, yeah, all that stuff.
Oh yeah. Did you foot drag the canal?
No. Not me. I'm not up to foot dragging yet. He's a foot dragging monster. I don't know if he did any out there, but
not over water.
Yeah.
There was one day when there was a low mist, and I thought it was pretty cool to come down and just have a little bit of a wake in the mist. So that was kind of cool too.
Yeah, that morning fog was pretty cool.
So what paramotor do you have, Morgan? You said you fly in a Charger. What motor did you get?
So I had, I was kind of like that guy on Facebook just waiting for like a good deal to come out. And so I was like, oh man, I really don't want to go all out and spend like $8,000 on something when I saw like a $4,300 paramotor. So I'm that guy. But the gentleman I was talking to, Joey, he's actually, I think in Iowa, he was selling it like a brand new engine on his Volution 2. And this guy's a machinist, and he's redone this whole thing. And it's like the scary news that you don't want to buy from. You don't want to buy from people that like have totally customized their paramotor. But he's like sent me his whole, process in maintaining it. And I was like really stoked about it. I was like, this is awesome. It's only got 15 hours on it. It's been broken in. But it was the only hard thing about it was a MY18. So I'm just thinking, okay, the muffler is probably the biggest problem. It's gonna be replaced eventually. And so I wasn't too bad, except I just flew my first flight away from everybody 2 days ago. And man, that it's heavy when you fuel it up half a tank. You got a reserve. I don't know if you guys know the Angel 140s. It's actually a pretty big reserve. And we shoved that into a small little pouch, and that's in front of me. And then that Volution 2 is not the lightest of all aircraft. So, and it's cold. So I'm wearing like 3 pants and gloves. I've never flown with gloves. Now my throttle's on my right hand. It's kind of in the way. There's so many things. I'm just like, this is not at all how I'm set up for success. And so, and I got like 4 or 5 girls staring at me, my wife and her friends, because we're there visiting. And it's such a beautiful field over there. And I think it was Fairview Heights, Illinois is where we went to. Wolf Ranch High School, lots of space. And I was just like, oh man. And so I did, I'm gonna do a practice run. So I do a little practice run, and I roll my ankle on one of these little mounds, these frozen mounds that this animal has created. There's tons of them. And I'm just like, wow. So I eat it. I face plant into the ground. I'm just thinking, man, I don't want to be holding the throttle right now. And so I tried to make sure my hand was open. And so I got back up, and I'm like, I gotta walk this off. And so but I'm like pumped up with adrenaline at the same time. I'm just like, oh man. So I don't feel it much, but I feel it, and I'm limping. And so, you can walk it off after 5 minutes. And so I go up, I hook in, and I just run it. I'm like, I'm just going to go. I know what I can do. And so I get up, and then I'm flying for about 5 minutes. My hands are frozen, and it's just bad. I hate it. I'm like, this is not good. I'm not having a good time. I'm going to land. And so I land, and I've never botched a landing until my very first, by myself. And the moment I put my foot down, the ankle just gave away. I'm just like, oh, I do have a video of that. I think I haven't sent it to the group chat, but I'll send it to you guys so you guys can check that out. I think I did actually.
Yeah, you sent that to the group chat.
Yeah, that was the only landing I have not successfully
If
Yeah,
I remember right,
ashamed.
this is for your eyes only. So I
For
assume
your
that
eyes
that's
only.
that's not something that we put out there. So I understand, that's cool. But yeah, I saw it.
No, I had a buddy of mine do the exact opposite. He took off just fine, but on the way in, he caught one of those molehills, and it wound up breaking his ankle.
Oh, I would say that's worse. That's a lot worse.
That sucks.
That
It
hurt.
looked just like yours, Brian. The X-rays looked exactly like your ankle.
Hanging sideways and dangling.
Well, I didn't see the foot. I just saw the X-ray, but his X-rays looked exactly like yours. The plate, the screws. I mean, it looked almost identical.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
my
that's too
question
bad.
may have already been answered, but I've been listening and waiting. But I wanted to ask Morgan and Jill, what is the most nerve-wracking experience you've had when you first started flying?
You first, Dad.
Okay, so I guess as they were doing more hands off, and I'm working on my landings. There was one landing that I had that I was coming over the actual runway, and it wasn't real dicey, and it wasn't. But in my mind, I'm thinking I need to have my approach heading directly into the wind, and if anything's like off, then and if I'm like swaying, if I got any kind of oscillations, I'm imagining myself trying to catch myself on my feet and run on a diagonal crosswind kind of landing. And so that was as close as I came. I think I came down a little harder. I still was on my feet, but I do believe my legs came down and the bottom of the cage scraped a bit. That was going through my head and just trying to dial in my approaches. And it was from before then on till that last day that is like, man, I need to dial in my approaches. And so that was the most tense that I had.
I think the scariest for me was just the 2 days ago, when you don't have anybody around you. It's like a little bit of a surreal moment. You're like, oh, well, yeah, now I don't have anybody to coach me at this. And so that was kind of like a little bit of pressure, especially with the crowd, and people are already starting to gather because they heard an engine run up. And so there's all this perceived pressure from people watching. And then here's equipment I've never flown on. Here's the temperature I've never flown in. Here's gloves I've never flown with. Here's a throttle hand I've never flown. And I'm so new at this. And I mean, I pick things up pretty quick, but it's like, you want to throw as many variables as you can to make a Swiss cheese model. That was it for me. That was like here. And I rolled my ankle just doing the practice. I'm like, come on, like, what else do I need to say? It's like, don't do it. And so I was just so excited, and I resorted to my training and all the things. And if you watch the video of my takeoff, you see it. You see me inflate, look left, look right, wings look good. The only thing I did differently, just because I couldn't keep up with my ankle, is I jumped in my seat this time. I don't jump in my seat. I'm usually like one that likes to chill and hang till I'm all the way off, but I just couldn't handle. The pain was actually still there when I started sprinting with that weight. And man, that weight just did not feel good either. So yeah, 2 days ago was the scariest moment. Then trying to come in for a landing, not feeling your hands. And there's just also, it's like they're stinging so bad at the same time. You're like, what's going on? This is so not fun.
What was the temperature you were flying in?
It was so the temperature was like around 27, but with the wind chill, it was like 10 or some silly.
That is so cold.
And it was the thin gloves. I wasn't wearing anything thick, and I was like, man, it felt so fine.
You wanted to get up there bad, did you?
I did. I just made this hanging trailer hitch, and I was so excited. I'm like, this is what was keeping me from flying, because St. Louis is so congested. I got to drive out 30 minutes so I can fly. And finally, I made something, and I was like, I got to do this now. Ugh.
So Morgan, did you have any heated gloves?
That was the talk. Elizabeth, my wife, were like, should we just stop by and like get some hand warmers? I'm like, no, because then I'm just putting more stuff in my hands. And I've already got too much going on. And sure enough, like that was the thing that really made me stop flying. I was actually enjoying it. And then like just 30 seconds in the flight, I'm like, man, my hands are getting really cold. Another 30 seconds later, I don't like this at all. I need to get down. And so I'm like doing my approaches. Like I got to get down. This is too much.
Yeah, that can get dangerous, man. Get you the heated glove liner. It's got the little heater element that goes all the way around the perimeter of the fingers, and it makes a world of difference. Plus, you keep most of your dexterity.
And you got to have it windproof too, because I have the same thing. But I tell you what, the wind just goes right through, and it chills my hand. Speaking about hand, JP's raising his hand. What's up, JP?
I gotta run. Do you need any more names or anything? If you
No,
do, I
thank
can
you
stick
very
around for a
much.
few minutes.
No, we got it. Thank you so much, JP. We appreciate
awesome.
you. You have
Hey
fun.
Morgan, hey Morgan, if you go to pariswagusa.com, you can find those gloves. They're right there. We have them actually.
I'm looking forward to looking at what you have
We
because
have
it's too
them.
cold here.
We have them, and I actually have a pair, and I flew with Sean this weekend, and I had mine on, and they work great. But the only thing is you have to remember to turn them on.
Hand me.
I got
Hey, JP.
here and didn't turn them on, and that's a whole nother story. But I didn't turn my stuff on, my vest, my gloves, or anything on, and I had to land in a random field, and I got stuck for 30 minutes.
Yeah, I got video of that. These are my gloves. I had to put tape on them just to have like the windbreaker part. So they look funky, but I tell you what, they keep my hands warm when it's 25 degrees out when I fly in the morning.
So I could give you a little pro tip that works great for moderately cool temperatures. It doesn't work good for really, really cold temperatures, but when it's moderately cool, take a regular pair of nitrile gloves, like mechanics gloves or dental gloves, surgical gloves, any nitrile gloves, put those on your hands, and then wear like mechanics gloves. The nitrile will keep the sweat and heat in on your fingers, and it's a windproof layer on the inside. Your hands will stay much warmer if you put on nitrile
I tried
gloves
that before, and it didn't, and my hand got colder doing that. Maybe I'm
I
doing
would say
something
put
wrong.
it over top of the glove. Put the rubber glove over top, and that way it's gonna kind of lock in the heat and create an air layer in between your skin and the outside. I will say that a good pair of gloves make all the difference in between a good flight and a bad flight, especially when it gets colder. So
I flew yesterday for about 45 minutes. It was like 41 on the ground and 20 at like 500 feet.
Yeah.
There was a serious inversion. Like
as
soon as you hit that like 500-foot mark, it went from somewhere comfortable to just being like frigid. It was like, oh, we're just gonna play down low today.
Well, before I head out, guys, I just wanted to say real quick, man, I've been watching Jim talk about flying for like the entire time that I've been flying. It's been, Jim, what's the countdown? Seeing him on all the different shows and everything, and just watching him progress and talk about how, he couldn't wait to learn how to fly with his son and everything, and to see it finally happen. It warms the heart, man. So I really am so happy for you and your son, Jim. Like I can't.
That was a serious countdown. That when we started,
it was
like 200 and some days. That was a long countdown.
Absolutely, and there was a countdown before you even signed up. It was when is Jim gonna have a countdown? There was a countdown before the countdown, and it just to see it finally happen, man. I'm so happy for you and your son. Like,
can't wait to see some videos too.
Absolutely.
And stuff like that.
Be safe and rack up some hours now at this point. Now there's going to be a countdown for an SIV or something, No rush on that.
Already talking about it. Talking about it.
Very cool.
Well,
so
let us know when you're going to be doing the SIV. I might have to go down there with you.
That would be cool.
So I always like to ask this question for people that have recently graduated training.
Later, JP.
Later, JP.
Bye.
What was the most frustrating portion of your training? Was it airspace? Was it the kiting? What was the most frustrating part for you to learn?
I think I know Morgan's answer already.
Yeah, you already know mine. You say yours then.
Okay. Well, my most frustrating thing was just dialing in my approaches. Like I was saying before, it's like, I really want it. I want this to be understood. I want it to be natural. And I don't want to have to feel so tense every single approach, which was nice with that last day. I thought, okay, well, here we go again. I'll try to knock out three flights, and it'll be a nice round number, and I'll work on this after. Turns out that first flight, I was like, that was cool, and I didn't feel tense at all. And then one thing that was different, is we weren't landing in the same area. The day prior, we took off to do AJ and Bakina's wedding, and we landed in a different, we took off and landed in a different area than our regular working area. That was kind of like a little bit out of my, out of the normal and a little bit out of the comfort zone. But with that one past us, then it was like, okay, and just thinking through it, that was just one of those things that we were able to work through. And so for me, the frustration was just not having it like I was seeing my son have it. I mean, he's just having fun and he's cranking them out. He's cranking out 10s and I'm happy to crank out one. And he's foot dragging and everything. And so I wasn't jealous, but I was frustrated that, man, I wish I could just really get this. So I was frustrated for a while and I got past it that last day, which was cool.
Speaking of flights, how many flights did you have in by the end of training?
I finished up at 37. I was shooting for 30. I think I was shooting for like 35 or something. I was like, you know what, I'll do it. And I got a couple more because I got this now. I'll keep doing a couple more.
That's awesome, man. That's way above the average. I think I was at 26 when I left, and you know they want you to get 25 flights in so you can get your PPG 2 rating. And
how long is that? How long is that class, Brian?
It's a 14-day class. It used to be 10 days. Right before my class went, they extended it to 14 days because some students weren't quite, you know, certain classes have better weather than others, and some of the classes didn't have the best weather, and the students didn't give quite enough opportunity to get as many flights in as they wanted to leave there as a confident pilot. So they extended it, and it's a long time to go to a place for 2 weeks. It's hard to drop, you know, work and everything else. So it's and Aviator has a pretty long waiting list typically too. So yeah, it's a you get what you pay for. It's a great experience, a great group of people down there. How about you, Morgan?
Yeah, my most frustrating thing is I'd learned so much, I think, and I got so much of the hand-eye coordination to the kiting that I gotta be patient now. I gotta, you know, people are not there at that level, and so my frustration was that waiting, and then getting told, you know, hey, this is how you do it. This is how you do it. And I had to learn something a little bit a different way. And so I was trying to do it that way and getting instructions. I'm already making the correction. And it's like, it was kind of like frustrating at that time. But I think the biggest frustration was I had an engine out and I was flying so much and I loved it. And I just lost track of my fuel. But it was right after a touch and go. I was climbing. I got up to my altitude and I was going downwind and the engine just cut out. And I just felt that dip. I'm like, oh, okay. That kind of feels like when you let off on throttle like crazy, or the towing when the towing stops, when we were doing the practice tows. And I just did I did my sharp S turn one direction and did a sharp S turn another direction. And so because I'm so focused on landing where we've always been landing, not on the runway or on the side of the runway or in another field, even though those were all safe spots, my targeted landing zone was where we've always been landing. And to get there, I needed to drop altitude fast and in a very short amount of distance. And so to do that, I was cranking over. And then I was getting kind of like, hey, don't do that. Like, don't do wing overs now. We'll do those maybe later or something. And then later I was told that, hey, good job. You did some sharp S turns. You made landing pattern by another instructor. So a little bit of frustration when you get told one thing from another person and then you're congratulated from another person. So it's kind of like, oh, what do you want me to do here? Like, would you have done the same? And I know the instructors, they're just, easing on the side of caution, veering there. So I wouldn't kill myself. And they're actually most fearful for me. AJ pulls me over and is like, yeah, it's like, hey, we see you loving it. I'm actually more scared for you. So take it easy. I'm like, yeah, I'm my worst enemy here. I can tell. I'm probably going to hurt myself if I don't take it easy. So frustration.
Like you did some wing overs though, but that's pretty cool doing your first wing overs.
They weren't, it wasn't planned. It wasn't like, oh, I want to do a wing over. It was, I need to dip down fast and I'm pulling and I feel the wing. I've been teasing a little bit, kind of pulling hard and seeing my wingtip at the horizon while I'm doing kind of like a spiral kind of descent. I don't know the terminology yet, but if I keep holding this turn, I can get my wingtip. And then once it crosses a point, it's like, too much. And I can get out of that. And so I've been flirting with that and kind of doing left and rights. And so I did it a little bit more aggressively that one time, and he was uncomfortable with me doing it. And so he had to tell me, no, don't do that again. I was like, or I'm grounded. He even said that. I was like, oh, come on, over the radio.
You're going to do so well at your SIV course. That is so awesome. That is so awesome.
I'm curious, both of you have a military background. You went through boot camp and whatnot. You've had military, I know, teaches you structure in life. How do you think that helped you in your training process at Aviator, how they do things? Or do you think it hurts you? Because I know people with an engineering background can struggle with some of the training aspects and whatnot. Yeah, I'm just curious what you think about that.
I think it was the best of both worlds as far as the intellect, what was going on, because I would say I'm aerodynamically inclined, and so is my father. And so when they got to those topics in the class, that was easy for us. But the roboticness of instructor, you do as I say and don't do anything else. That's also another thing that, structured learning. Hey, just do what you're told. Cool, that's fine for us too. And so I think it was really easy for us to translate that. But I think the biggest thing was the safety aspect. If there's nothing you can't stop mentioning, is how you can be your worst enemy. And safety is the biggest thing. People get complacent, and we're just taught that over and over in aviation, and especially in the aviation side of the military. Is you can't take unnecessary risks at all. And what we do is fun, so you can kind of balance that. And so, weigh your risks. Hey, is today the right day to fly?
You like taking off with a rolled ankle or anything like that?
Like taking off with the rolled ankle. Like I should have waved. Okay. I should have just said, it's not worth it, right? It's not worth it. But I'm gonna admit it. I made the wrong decision, and I pulled a little drop out of my luck bucket and just got away with it. And so, but I'm recognizing like that was a no fly right there. I should have just said, no, there's too many variables. I can do this another time when it's enjoyable. And so safety. That structure of safety in the military. I mean, we have what's called CRM, crew resource management, ORM, operational risk management. There are acronyms upon this, like, make decisions at the appropriate level, you got identifying hazards and all these things. And so we're taking all, I'm sure he was taking all these tools and just bringing it in and just like, yeah, cool. And that's also a testament to aviators training style is, wow, this Department of the Navy is a lot like what they're doing here. Is cool. They seem to have a good focus on safety being a big role in this whole thing. So we were really appreciative. Speaking for both of us, I'd say we were really appreciative, but you can say whatever you want to add. Sorry, I took the...
I would echo most of that. I've been going through the flight training that we did in the Navy. There's lots of opportunity to train in ways that's out of your comfort zone. And there's lots of opportunity to just take orders that maybe you don't understand, but you trust it's the right thing. At Aviator, there is a lot of opportunity for that. So I think in that regard, you have an opportunity to say, okay, I'm not exactly sure what's going on, but I can switch off my non-understanding reflexes and just trust them. On the trust side, there was one thing that happened with Fletch that I thought, okay, I'm committing to this trust thing. When we're doing our lean backs, we got the motor on, not the wing. And he's saying, okay, go ahead and throttle up. I know that the throttle that I'm squeezing in is going to put me face down in the dirt, but he's got his hands on my shoulders. So now I'm like, he says, go ahead and throttle up. And I'm like, okay, I'm trusting you, because if I don't, I'm going over. And so he's bouncing me right off of his hands between the thrusts, and he's playing with that. And I'm like, okay. And you get one of these nervous laughs. So being able to just trust your instructors, trust instructors who are trustworthy, that I think we might have had an advantage. It's kind of hard to say, because after high school, I don't know anything else but the Navy. And that's what I was in for 21 years. So, but I think it may have given us somewhat of an advantage. Also, the guys who have trained paramotor guys, they said that people who do radio control stuff, they said that they typically do well because they can just follow directions too. They say that the people who actually are pilots might be a little bit of a more of a challenge.
Yeah, I think they told me some of the hardest students they taught were fighter pilots. Mm-hmm. People that had all these different, advanced training. They come there. I guess it's hard to break it down. I don't know.
Yeah, I was a back ender, so I wasn't a pilot I was an air crewman. I did radar and the reconnaissance stuff, but I wasn't at the controls.
Did you get a chance to meet Mike Brown there? Was he there at the time?
Yes.
Yeah, I figure you and him probably hit it off pretty well.
Oh yeah. Yeah, he's quite a character. I'm looking, planning on heading back down towards the end of January. My hope is to do some interim, some internship there as an instructor. So we'll see how that.
I'll see you there.
Yeah. Hey, you'll be heading back down?
Yeah, I'll be down there the first 2 weeks of February. I'm taking an SIV, and then just hanging out at Aviator for a couple of weeks.
At Andy's outfit, Andy and Leah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
We're signed up February 5 through 7, and me and Brooke Sheffield will just be hanging out for longer than that.
Okay.
That's awesome, man. I didn't know you were going to be interning down there. Eric is a recruiting machine. I will put it that way. He's always got his radar on for good help. And there's one or two students in every class, I think, that he tries to recruit down there. the best of the best, right?
And then there's me.
Y'all learn somewhere.
Hey, Linda,
I
poke Shane.
Yeah, I wanted to call him out. I think Shane's had a long day.
He's doing a JP impersonation.
nothing wrong with that.
I
That
know.
sounds good. I do want to say something to Jim and Morgan. My son has been listening to this podcast. This is the first time he's listened to it. Listening to Jim and Morgan, he says he's going to put the sticker on his truck, and he wants to learn how to paramotor now.
Hey, all right.
So Jim and Morgan, you actually convinced my son to go fly paramotors. That's pretty awesome.
Good.
That's
Good.
great.
If not, go on a trike and a tandem and experience it. Maybe see if you like it or not. That's a good way.
Well, Dad, if you go and watch your son fly, make sure you bring something to dry the eyes.
Oh.
It's special. My dad taught me how to fly in a Quicksilver, and I have that connection of aviation with my father, and that's awesome. He wishes that he could foot launch a paramotor and do that right beside me, but we got the next best thing. He'll get up there in a Quicksilver, cruise about 35, and I'll be cruising around with a paramotor. He'll do slow circles around me.
Very cool.
But
That's
to be able to
so
fly with
awesome.
your father or son is awesome.
That's
You
for
get on an ITV Piper 22, you'll be faster than him.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, I got a new Spider 3 coming with a speed bar.
Hey,
Ooh.
My husband taught me how to fly a drone. Does that count?
That does count. Yes, it does.
Hey, I saw you taxiing. That looked pretty good.
you
Thank
did
you.
excellent. Didn't
She did really well down here. Mark and I went flying, and she stayed there with a friend of mine, and she was just kiting around and learning how to kite. She did really well. I'm very
And
proud
Mark
of her.
didn't get a video.
No, you got a picture thinking that it was a video.
No,
what happened.
no picture, but it didn't happen. He looked at the phone.
Nothing at all.
No, and you were working with me, and I was feeling so self-conscious and everything, and I said, "Stop." He actually stopped.
Yeah.
What? You know the word no. Congratulations. Good for you.
You guys were talking about RC pilots. I did RC for about 20 years plus. I started out with glow engine airplanes and trainers, and then I moved into the gas stuff, and then I got the trailer, and I had the big 103 cc engine. I went all out. I don't want to think about how much money I poured into that hobby. Then I went into the helicopters. I guess helicopters were the end of it for me. I got into doing the 3D helicopter flying, and then I was just tired of being grounded, and I thought about getting an ultralight. And a guy in the RC club, he's like, "Man, have you really thought about getting an ultralight?" I was like, "Yeah, I've really thought about it." He goes, "Have you thought about where you're going to keep it? Have you thought about how you're going to carry it where you want to go fly if you're not going to stow it somewhere?" He goes, "Have you ever looked into paramotoring?" And I'm like, "No, I haven't." He goes, "Well, I have." And he goes, "You ought to look into it." And I started looking into it. And that's when I came across Tucker Gott, of course.
Mhm.
And then I started
Flying to
watching
McDonald's, I
that.
bet, right?
Huh?
Flying to McDonald's, right?
I don't remember what video I saw, to be honest, but it was one of them, and I was just intrigued by it. And then I started looking at it, and I'm like, heck, I can get into paramotoring for about the same price as I can get at ultralight, and I can break it down, put it in the trunk of my car, and go somewhere with it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so, and plus there's no restrictions really except for airspace, right? So, or landowners and stuff like that. So yeah, but as far as the RC aspect of it, you know, us learning to fly away from us and then back toward us and then back toward us, everything is reversed as far as your controls. You know, a lot of people struggle with that. With me having that reverse kiting was natural to me. I started reverse kiting. You know, I trained with, I don't know if you guys have heard of him, but Kyle O'Glee. And
No,
I trained with him.
Must be somebody new in the sport.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, a lot of people haven't heard of him. He's kind of a new guy in the sport. Yeah, but yeah, I picked up the kiting like it wasn't anything, dude. It was nothing. But I could not forward launch to save my life. I don't know why forward launches, reverse launches. Everybody's like, man, I can't believe you can reverse launch and you can't forward launch. I'm like, I just had trouble with it. I had trouble with it. But you know, it's one of those things. Once it clicks, and once you've got all the steps in your head that you've got to do on that forward launch, I mean, it's nothing to it anymore. And the longer you fly, and Brian and some of these other guys that's been flying for a while, you know, I've been doing it for 2 years now. The more I fly, the more I fine tune my flying, because now I'm not trying to think of all this crap at one time. Now I'm fine tuning little things. You know what I mean? So it's really I'm starting to settle into my flying and enjoy it a lot more than I have.
I can't wait for Jim and Morgan to come back on the show in 2 years and show what they've done and all the different SIV courses and all the different fly-ins and stuff like this. It is 8:42 right now. You did say that you need to go in 30 minutes. So if you need to go, you're more than welcome to. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you, guys.
So
Morgan,
much appreciate
thanks for coming on the show, man. It was great meeting you down there.
Thanks for recording it, Brian. Appreciate it.
I really enjoyed listening to you guys and how you share your experiences. I can see it in my head, especially when Jim talks.
Oh yeah.
And
he's grinning ear to ear. He hadn't stopped grinning the whole show. He's just grinning ear to ear.
Yeah, I know, right?
Is Jim and Morgan the only father-son paramotor duel that's out there? I don't know. If you know of anybody,
I don't think so.
Please do me a favor and email me at ppggrandpa@gmail.com. Let me know what you know. Send some cool ass comments down below about all the different people that you've known in paramotor. Jim, thank you so much for your service. We totally appreciate you. Thank you for coming on the show. Morgan, you are awesome. Thank you again. I can't wait to meet you guys and go flying someplace and do some wingtip bumps and doing some foot dragging.
Yeah,
we're gonna have some fun.
I want Morgan to do a YouTube video on how to land with a rolled ankle.
it looks a lot like sliding and your legs coming up and you're just bump face plant. That's what it looks like.
Once you guys start doing your YouTube channels, let me know, and we'll put your YouTube channels and stuff down below, and that way you guys, you know, can introduce everyone to your YouTube channel. I put all of your information down below. If you guys don't know Jim or Morgan, please look in the description down below. And if you're listening to this on paratalk.org, it's in the description. Please check them out. Please subscribe to their page and check out you know, their Instagram and say hi to them. Let them know that you saw them on Clear Prop TV, and tell them thank you very much for your service, because they're awesome guys.
Yes,
2 more days, Morgan. 2 more days, right?
Yeah, I know.
Hey, Army right here, no Navy. I tested ASVAB for the Navy, but I went in the Army instead. My Navy recruiter was very pissed off at me.
Well,
there was
Marine Corps. So we got
How did that go?
We got Marine Corps. We got Army. We got Navy, and Morgan, you're Navy too, right?
Yeah, gonna join the Air Force later.
Yeah, he's about to be Air Force.
So we got lots of people on here. That's really awesome.
Hey, Morgan and Jim, I don't know if you do any shopping on Amazon, but if you do, there's a portion of Amazon called SmileAmazon.com.
Yep.
You can
Smile.amazon.com. Yes.
Right. So you can use that as charities, and we have actually chosen Resurgence PPG as our charity. Yep. So anything that we order off of Amazon, a percentage of that goes to Resurgence.
Okay.
Yeah, the resurgence. Todd Scandrett is doing there. Yeah.
Yeah.
And this summer,
something really quick.
Yeah.
Morgan, I sent you a friend request.
Okay.
On the shows, thank you. Welcome to our family.
Thank you. My
Absolutely.
phone's been blowing up actually, so yeah.
I love you guys. Thank you for your service. Absolutely.
Thank you for your support.
I get emotional every time I say that. Every time, yeah, it goes right there.
Thank you guys so much for this chat. I love the information. I'm gonna look at some of the glove stuff because that's really relevant to me right now. And yeah, I'm gonna go hang out with the in-laws and the family for the New Year's coming up here. Thank you guys so much for having me here.
Thank you again, Morgan. We
Thanks,
appreciate
guys.
Morgan.
Take care.
you. Take
Jim,
care.
we'll see you Thursday.
Definitely.
All
Jim, are you
right.
staying with us for a little bit?
I can.
Okay. Right now we are opening up this live podcast to anybody that wants to jump on for the next 15 minutes. So anything that we talked about is still swear jar. There's still a swear jar out here. So we're still, PG, G rated. So be careful. Write your Dan keys.
Yeah, I saw Sean NASCAR. He said that David Wolf is a father-son combo as well. And
Oh, that's cool.
I'd like to add to that. You said that there's any other father-son combos out there. How about a grandpa, son, and grandson combo? Think that's out there?
Son and grandson. What? A
I like
triple
that.
threat?
Three generations.
A triple
Wow. Together.
Really
A
cool.
hat trick.
I like that. I like how Brian says, he doesn't, like I say grandpa, but Brian says grandpa.
I mean, we have the husband and wife duo, Mark and Elena Honeycutt, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, everybody
Well,
knows that.
they're fixing to be us as soon as
Love.
this
There you go.
air.
Lovely couple. Amor.
Oh, look who's that. Hey,
Hello,
Garcia.
everybody. Hey,
Man,
Simon.
they let anybody
What's
in.
up, bro? Hey, Jim.
we're Yankees in the house.
Hey, man.
I would like to see that girl
Oh.
fly one day, and she's gonna be doing some acro. She's a little crazy. Only 4
And-
years old. But she
Oh
will-
yeah.
And remember,
Okay.
Yeah.
and remember, we're still on the air live. So,
Yeah. Don't
watch,
worry about it,
watch-
brother. Keep it PG.
Watch-
Keep it PG.
watch
Don't
this
do that.
watch this word.
Look who's waking up for the after show.
Oh,
There he is.
Oh, here he is.
Hey, Mark. Linda.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Mark, more love. I want to eat some pie. One of these days. I catch you at the compound. When you're coming back, you need to bring some pies. We're going to sell pies.
Pies to the
Compound.
compound.
Yeah, selling pies at the compound. And giving
Hey,
away
I got a paramotor frame for your daughter already. It's sitting right
Really?
over here. Yeah, it's sitting right over here. It's perfect size for her.
Don't kid him, brother.
I'm not kidding.
Oh, my God.
Watch this. I'm gonna take it off the. Where's this?
Oh, no.
You take some kidding.
Nah, you're kidding about it, Mark.
Boom. Watch this.
That would be when she will be 13, bro.
It's, it's really cool. I mean, Mark and Amy, they live not but a couple hours away from me down in Texarkana. So it's going to be good. The school that I'm starting, he's going to help us with the frames and stuff for the new students too.
Cool.
I have a friend of mine that he fly with me down here in Miami. He got a frame from Mark. He's a lovely frame. I saw it, the pictures and everything. Oh yeah.
Garcia, do you
yeah.
see it?
Yeah.
That's a Rebel 2 or a Rebel?
Rebel 1.
Rebel 1.
Rebel 1.
Oh, Rebel 1. Need to write down one.
I thought that was an interesting design between that and the Defiant with having the tank as the body. I really like the idea of that. I don't know what it's like yet, but to me it seems appealing that whatever is not fuel is buoyant part of the aircraft. And it's high up above my shoulders, so it's actually looking to keep my head above. So eventually I plan on jumping in a pool with my paramotor. I got one that's similar.
Where we living?
Well, I'll tell you, Jim.
Oh man,
I have flown Fresh Breeze. I have flown Scout. I have flown Power to Fly. There's another brand that I'm not caring to mention that I flew, and this one here is a little different. you know, the gas not being at the bottom or at the top like a fresh breeze, it's in the center. So now your center of gravity is different. Your pivot is different. So you got more weight shift authority. The swing arms are wider, so you got more weight shift authority as well there. It's a great paramotor, man. I'm happy. It's very simple. It's got a backbone frame. Everything plugs into that. The gas tank attaches to that. And then you got triple dampering. You've got the way the plates are, they're separated. It's not one solid plate that your motor mounts to. So you've got dampering on the plates, the motor mount plates, and then you've got a gas tank and a harness between you and all that. So you don't feel a lot of vibration. It's a great paramotor, man. I'm very happy with it.
Good.
And I'm a salesman.
Oh,
he's a salesman.
How long you been flying?
2 years.
2 years. Okay.
2 years.
And where at are you in the States?
We are in Texarkana, Texas. We're right on the border of Texarkana and Arkansas.
Okay.
So, you know, I fly a lot of, we go down to Galveston and fly a lot down there with Houston PPG. We fly a lot, you know, we went and flown with Sean. That was a great flight with Sean this weekend, I have to admit.
Such a really good time. I mean, it was really awesome. But he wanted to land out, and you know, he wanted to see the sights down below while I was flying around. Do you want to talk about that a little bit, or do you want me to share some?
Well, what happened is I had you know, in the cold weather, I have all this heated gear. I had socks, I've got pants, I've got the vest, and I've got the gloves. I have found that the only thing I really need is the vest and the gloves. If I can keep the wind off my chest and my hands warm, I'm usually okay. I can fly it. I'm good. But I forgot to turn it all on, and we're flying, and we're going over the Arkansas River, and I am freezing. I can't feel my hands. I tried to turn my vest on, and I wear a jacket over my vest, and I had unzipped that, and I couldn't get it zipped back up, so all the cold air was going inside my jacket. So I see a vacant field, and I said, you know what? I'm going to land. I'm going to turn all this stuff on and get back in the air. No problem, right? Well, the field had been freshly cut, and it had like a bunch of stalks and stuff sticking out. So every time I would go to launch, those stalks were grabbing my lines. It was like a nightmare trying to get out of that freaking field. And finally,
I was flying all around him, looking down, wondering what's going on. I didn't realize that there's so many stalks down there. And I'm like, what? How are you not doing a forward launch? Is it that difficult? I see him try to go this way. And I see him try to go this way. I guess the wind was switchy too, and you got stalks trying to grab onto your lines.
Yep. I mean, I was fighting crevasses. I mean, it took me 5 launches to get off the ground. But honestly, I just looked at the sky and I'm like, God, I don't have a choice. I have to get off the ground. Please let me get off the ground. And you know, I got patient. I slowed down a minute and I cleared every single line on the glider. I laid it down softly. I rehooked in and I pulled up and I took off. I mean, so it was a little bit of being impatient, a little bit of not having anything to judge which way the wind was blowing, which there wasn't much wind at all. I think Sean can attest to that. There wasn't much at all.
No. The whole day was, well, this was your first midday flight too, right?
Yes, that was my first midday flight. And as I told him, my first time ever landing in somebody's random field.
And
so it was kind of an XC, right? I mean, you took off one place, landed in a different place, and came back. So I mean, there you got an XC, you got a first midday flight. I mean, kind of adventurous.
No, it was a great flight. Sean, I've got some video. I've got to get it to you. My GoPro did get some of it. You know, I loved flying over that parked train. I didn't care for the bumpiness. We was discoteching over that train for a little while, but and
there's so much heat coming off of that train.
Yeah,
it was the train was creating its own thermals.
Yeah, it was fun, man. I didn't like the ridge lift that we were getting over that ridge that we were flying over. I kind of chickened out. He was going out over this big giant patch of trees, and I'm like, man, there's nowhere to land if I'm going over them trees. So I stayed left on the ridge and took my own route back to the airport. But no, it was fun, man.
I did a hay bale slalom and saw a bunch of deer, and I thought of Brian.
Yep.
Yeah.
So all the
Hey,
hotels.
Mark, how many flights are you up to now, Mark? You say you've been flying for 2 years. Do you keep a log, or you have any idea?
I do not keep a log. I should have. Man, you know, before we started Paraswag USA, I was flying almost every day. I'll be honest with you. I was like Sean. I was flying almost every day. And since we started the business, you know, it's kind of took up a lot of time and brain power and energy. And, you know, I don't fly as much as I do. But what I have found since we've done it, and I'll answer your question in a minute, is I get to travel more now because I'm going and meeting more people, and people are inviting us to come to fly with them. So I'm getting to fly in more areas. I'm just not getting to fly as much. But if I had to put a number on it, I've probably got at least 150, 200 hours.
You might have more, because I remember at the point in the beginning, I would look at him and say, "You're going again?" And that's,
I mean, if
that's
it was
before I started.
If it was good weather, I was
So
flying.
you have almost what I had in my first 6 months. That's pretty cool.
I know,
That's
I know, but that's okay. That's okay. That's okay. You know.
Yeah, you and Brooke Sheffield, y'all are in a whole other category, man. You know, me, I'm right at 40 hours and 95 flights in a year, on my motor. So I know Morgan, he was killing it, you know, and training too. I think the last I saw, he had like 62 flights, which was way above average for you know, the class, normal classes. I think one guy set the record at like 100.
Way above anybody else.
I have probably put most of my flights in the last year, because last year we went to Galveston in July and I had 10 flights under my belt. So most of that flying has been done in a year.
Yeah, before we left Galveston that 4th of July weekend, he had about at least
I had
10 more, 10 to 15 more before we left.
Yeah, when we went to Galveston, I got on the beach. I couldn't stay out of the air. It's, you know, it's flying all day long. So I put 10 flights under my belt in that weekend.
And
after going to my first SIV course, that's when it just went boom. It just skyrocketed.
when I get in the
Because I felt so comfortable.
when I get to solo, he's going to be flying a lot more, because ever since I did my first tandem last year, all I've done is bug him about, when am I going to get my stuff? When am I going to cut? When am I going to do this? I mean, I begged him for a year straight, and I finally got.
I'm with you, Sean. The SIV, I think it's going to change everything for me. I'm going to have a new wing. I'll have a year of flights under my belt, and the confidence that I'm sure that class is going to build. If you can get past the fear factor of getting snatched up to 4,000 feet and then pulling lines like you've never done before. I think that after that, you know, normally when I'm at home, I go release a balloon and I look at the windsocks and like, yeah, it may be flyable, but I know that it's almost always flyable, depending on my bump tolerance, you know.
So what is that like, getting towed at 4,000 to 5,000 feet?
I don't know. That's Sean.
I've been pulled up 1,000 feet.
To me, it was very smooth all the way up. It didn't take but 6-7 minutes, and you went from, you know, ground all the way up to 4,000 feet.
And
then you pin off, and that's the crazy part is when the boat makes a big turn. Okay, it goes straight, and then it makes a big turn, and then it comes back around to where it started. So I mean, you're trying to stay behind the boat as it's turning. So as it's turning, your wing is way off to the left, you're pulling way off to the right. And that's the weirdest part, is seeing your wing way over there, and you're trying to turn this way to go straight. That's the weirdest part.
Can you not get locked out like that? Isn't that what they call lockout, when you get locked out?
No, we're still behind the boat, but just because there's 4,000 feet of line, it's an S turn. So you see the boat, and the wind blows it out this way, and then it comes back to you this way. So you're looking down, and you see this big S right there, and you're still behind the boat, but still trying to go around these big, huge turns on the boat. Your wing is way off to one side, and you're way off to the other. You can see it on my SIV videos. That was the worst unnerving, but that was SIV 1. SIV 2, SIV 3 that I did, I didn't even notice it, because I've been flying so much that, you know, it was no big deal. But that first time, it was noticeable. Second, third time, it was just part of, you know, being towed up.
So you were scared, right? first time?
No, I was never scared.
Yeah.
I was never
Oh.
scared.
Terrified.
Yes.
Never scared,
Thank
never
you.
terrified, because after that first time up there and you pull your A's and you collapse and you're doing nothing but holding it down as hard as you can. As soon as you can't hold it down no more, you're like, and you let it go, poof, it opens up.
Yeah.
You know, you try to pull an asymmetric, so you're pulling down over here and it collapses this way, and you're like, I'm still flying forward, but I'm just turning a little bit. So you weight shift like this, half your wing is down, and you weight shift the opposite way, and you're flying straight. You're like, what? That's pretty cool.
What wings did you
know,
use? Specifically, your first one. What wing
I
did you
had the Roadster 3. The Roadster 3 was my first wing. It was a 28 meter. My second wing that I used up there was a Vantage 3 28 meter. Now, Shane can tell you there's a little bit of a difference on the Roadster 3 to the Gin Vantage 3, because when I went to do a horseshoe, which is putting the A's together like this and then slowly going up to make a horseshoe, as soon as I put my A's together, it collapsed violently.
Oh my
and
God.
I went straight down. That, my friend,
That was terrifying.
Terrifying thing, because when I was going down, I was getting a riser twist.
Oh my
However, I already pulled a reserve on my first SIV, so I knew riser twist, no problem. All I have to do is do this, and I'm floating down safely. So it was terrifying, because that was the only time in my entire history of flying paramotors did I lose my stomach.
So did you had to throw your laundry?
No, not that one, because I was able to undo the riser twist.
Oh, you was able to undo it. Okay.
My first
but you
SIV
did on the
that
first
I did,
one, right?
On my first SIV that I did, yes, we were able to throw the thing.
And
But it's pretty much, you're flying, put your brakes together and throw it. So you throw it, and then you're like this, and then you pull it in, and so it really wasn't like you're stalling and you're falling,
right?
What's that?
That's one of your ultimate goals, and basically things to check off your list on your first SIV is actually throw the laundry, right?
I mean, throw it, yeah.
Absolutely.
Everything you do
It
leads
is-
up to you're gonna throw the laundry before you go home, right?
Absolutely. One of the guys that I was there with, they were coming in too low because they're out too far, so they were going to hit the water anyway. So Andy said, just go ahead and throw your reserve. So he threw his reserve and landed in the water. They picked him up within seconds. I did a countdown on my video when I pulled the reserve and how long it took to open up and how long it took for me to hit the ground. And that was a pretty interesting video that I did too. Looking back, because when you're there in your seat and you're doing it, it's totally different than looking back on your camera. But I loved it, and I will definitely do some more SIVs this next year coming up.
So Brian, when you guys did your training at Aviator, did y'all fly with reserves when you were training?
No, they wouldn't let us. They said we didn't know enough to know when you needed to throw it. Basically, they keep you inside that safety bubble. Once you started flying your own gear at the end of training, if you bought your gear through them, you could fly your own unit. They help you set it up. At that point, I was flying with my own with a reserve, but initially on the student units, they don't let you because 9 times out of 10, if a student's freaking out, think they need to throw the reserve or something, they don't, and it just gets them in more trouble than they would have been in the first place. So they keep you inside that safety bubble, weather and equipment wise. And we didn't fly with reserves.
I didn't fly the whole first year of my flying without a reserve. And I was very conservative. I didn't do a whole lot. I just flew around and looked at stuff, But as soon as I put a reserve on my paramotor, I'm like trying to put my tip down to horizons and do little baby wing overs. And, it's like I got some confidence,
Yeah, he made me super nervous. I kept telling him, you need reserve, you need reserve, you need reserve. I was nervous every time he went up the first year.
The only time I throw in a reserve is when I go do something midday.
Or you can be like Kyle Mooney, go up there and do the infinite tumble, fly with 3 reserves. That guy. Jim, did you get to see him perform? Was he there at Aviator at all? Flying?
He was not an aviator while we were doing our training. He was, I think he was one of the pilots at the Flite Fest that when I was there, but I didn't know who was who or anything there. I had no idea who Tucker Gott was. We did a post-Flite Fest live stream, and they're all talking, oh, Tucker Gott's going to be on the show next week. I'm like, who's this Tucker Gott that you keep talking about?
That is hilarious.
So
That is funny. That is funny.
But ever since, I mean, Kyle just put out a video, I think it was about a week ago, about something of safe flight kind of progression. And I thought that was really cool. So yeah, I am aware of him, and I really respect his knowledge and abilities, and I'm glad he's sharing it out on YouTube.
Jim, we'll make you a shirt that just Jim can wear. Who's Tucker Gott?
Yeah, definitely. And
Nah,
not
Tucker
knowing
who?
Tucker Gott,
Tucker who? There you go, Brad.
not knowing Tucker Gott is like not knowing Brian Haybill-Waller. Come on.
Every time I see somebody do something awesome with a paramotor, foot dragging or something like that, I'm like, Tucker who?
Tucker who? Yeah.
Oh, that's Jacqueline's boyfriend. I think he sells shirts or something. Yeah.
I know. Like, who is this guy? Yeah, I
Having
know.
some kind of
He's
success.
that risky
He drinks
biscuits
coffee or
dude.
something.
Yeah.
It's funny watching all the other people, because it seems like just about anybody that flies paramotors, like myself, has a YouTube channel, and it's funny watching all the other paramotor pilots try to imitate him. You know, flying to get fast food or doing the different things he does.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, I'm gonna tell you who I've
is
seen do the best Tucker Gott impersonation.
Who?
PPG Gorilla
Oh yeah,
Is that
yeah.
right?
on the Christmas show with
Yeah.
David Wolf. PPG
Yeah.
Gorilla did it the best.
Yeah.
It was freaking awesome.
Christmas.
Yeah, he nailed it.
Can I digress and ask a question real quick for you guys? I just kind of have it back in my head listening to everybody talking about the different, altitudes and how high they flew and SIV and all that. So, which one of you just progressed very quickly and not worried about how high you're going? That because Mark's challenge at the beginning was always, I'm gonna go higher. I'm gonna go 2,000 feet. I'm gonna go 2,500 feet. So, anyone baby step it, or did you all just took off and not worry about it?
I
Because
baby stepped up to
when I went
5,000
1,000
feet, a
feet,
little bit over
last
5,000,
month
and
I
that
was
was it.
terrified. Do what?
I said I baby stepped a paramotor up to a little over 5,000 to say that I'm, Mile High Club. But honestly, originally I was like, I'm going to make it up to 18,000. Now it's like, once you get up to 5,000 feet and there's nothing to see. It's kind of boring. And I really like the low and slow thing. I love foot dragging. I love being low. I suppose if I wanted to go 18,000 feet, I'd get a Cessna or something.
It's something
The
you jump
only
out of.
thing that I want to accomplish out of altitude is I want to get a cloud-based flight. I haven't gotten one of those yet, and I want to get above the clouds at least once.
You'll get there. I mean, I've been a couple times above the clouds, and it's really nice.
You want to
But
take them on
yeah,
that too?
You got to make sure that you got a plenty of out. I mean, you can't just be above the clouds and have this little tiny hole down below. Now that's awful. I would never want to be stuck above the clouds at all. But the times that I was above the clouds, I had lots of, it's like the clouds are in front of me and I can see above them, but behind me there's nothing. So that was not scary. I would not want to do some of these things where they go above the clouds and there's just this little hole that you can see the ground in. That would be scarier than anything I've ever done, including SIV and tried.
So Brian, do you baby step it too?
Yeah, I'm afraid of heights. I mean, just flat out, I'm afraid of heights. If I get up to the edge of a balcony that's 10 stories high, I don't trust my legs anymore.
Yeah.
But flying paramotors, I mean, the height doesn't bother me until I get over about 500 feet. And then the higher I go, the scarier it gets for me. I don't know what it is. I know that's just, totally back. Altitude is your friend when you're flying. And it gives you all kind of more time to react to incidences. But yeah, the higher I go, the scarier it gets personally for me.
So you stay below 1,000 feet.
Yeah, I rarely get over 500 feet. I like it low and slow too. That's where it's at me. Just going from one field to the next, flying low. You climb out, get over a power line or a tree line. But you always got to have somewhere to land. That's the most important thing.
I know doing cross countries, when I go from one place to another, 2,500 feet is a great cruising altitude.
See,
that's usually where I play around at, is about 2,500. That's where anything over 2,500, I mean, it's all about the same, isn't it? You know what I mean?
And it gets colder too.
Yeah. I've had it both ways, John.
Down below,
I've had it both ways. I've had it where I'm flying low, like under 1,000 feet below, and it be really chilly, and then you hit 1,000 feet plus, and it's like somebody turned the heater on.
I had that one time I went above the clouds. I mean, it was freezing down below. Went above the clouds, and it was like warm.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? That's a weird
one
feeling.
Time in all my flights. Yeah.
How many of y'all have been rained on?
Never. I don't go out in the rain.
Rained on. That's a freaky feeling. That's a feeling. I'm on an XC with a guy, and it starts raining on me. I can hear it hitting my helmet. That's how I know it was raining. I hear it hitting my helmet, and I started freaking out. Man. I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, well, Mark, you've got to make a decision. You're either gonna go for it or you're gonna turn back and go back. And I'm looking at my buddy, and I'm like, he's down there doing ring overs and all this crap. And I'm like, well, maybe if I get lower, maybe the rain will dissipate and it won't get to me or something. But all I could think about is my freaking wing getting saturated and falling out of the sky. That's all I could think about. But I mean, we got out of it. It was just a light sprinkle. It wasn't that bad. And, I talked to Kyle about it later on. But man, he says what he's always says. He says, just fly it. Just fly it. He goes, if that little bit of the sprinkle, he says it'll dry out on its own. He goes, you don't have anything to worry about.
It's when it starts to really rain and fill up your wing that you have to really worry about, I suppose.
Well, dude, when I heard it hitting my helmet over the motor, that's what freaked me out. Okay.
I have to say, Mark, I think you already made a bad decision when you got into the rain.
Yeah, well, it wasn't raining. It wasn't raining when we were flying. It was like we got under a cloud where we did this XC down close to the river. To the Red River, and all of a sudden I heard it hitting my helmet, and I'm like, okay, now what? But no, we were good. We were good.
Jim, what's the highest you went during training?
I was just going to ask him.
We were talking about altitude. I was curious.
Yeah.
I don't know that I have any kind of good depth perception when it comes to altitude and stuff like that. There are so many times when I'm thinking, maybe I'm at firefighter. No, you're more like 200. So, I don't think I ever broke 1,000 feet.
Gotcha.
I don't know. Maybe probably the highest I did go was when we did the cross country over for the wedding. So I don't know what everybody was cruising at. I was probably at the highest of any of them because I'm thinking all my outs, I want to make sure I've got plenty of glide path to get to them. I'm applying all this stuff that they're saying because I'm thinking, I want to do things the right, and I would like to live a nice long life as an older grandpa with my grandkids. So don't want to risk what I don't need to risk. I don't know. And as far as Morgan, he said he's gone up and down and everything. He said when he went up, it was colder. All the time at the highest I've been, it didn't seem like it was that much greater. I did like flying close to the clouds. I think that adds something to it, a factor that's enjoyable. But I don't think altitude for altitude's sake is, I don't know. We'll see. Once I get up in the air, maybe it'll be different. But I'm not interested in being cold. That's for sure.
I just looked at my Skyfly High, and the highest I got was 2,000 feet on our flight that we did, Mark George, and
I was above you.
Yes,
I was way above you.
Yes, you were on the way back, but my fastest ground speed was 70 miles an hour.
Ooh,
my maximum lift was 8 feet a second, but my maximum sink coming out of those thermals, I could feel it, 12 feet a second. Think about it. I'm 6 feet tall, double me, right? And that's that
double
much
sink
sink
per
in
second.
1 second.
Yeah. I felt it. Trust me, I felt it. That's why I wasn't going out there where you were, because
Oh,
every time I started getting over close to
I
you,
love it. It was fun.
I didn't like that crap, dude. It was like I didn't like it. I was like, man, I'm staying on this ridge over here where I feel safe.
Plus, when you go up, you're a little speck, and you're flying where bigger guys fly, much bigger, much faster, and they're not expecting.
And
that to me is something that's in the back of my head too. It's like, you know what? I don't want to be a speck on someone's windshield.
I watched Mark fly over an airplane. Actually, I think it was two airplanes.
It was between them. It was one above me and one below.
That's right. Yeah. He had an airplane above him. He's flying, and there's an airplane below him. And I'm like,
I didn't see the one below me. I seen the one above me though.
I got
never
on
saw
video.
the one below me.
We have military helicopters fly over my house every day, and they're always about at 1,500 to 2,000 feet. So they're not real high. Definitely in the realm of the altitude you can get to in a paramotor.
Yeah.
And I don't want to get anywhere near a Huey.
I've flown around not on purpose.
Or I'm sorry, a Chinook.
I wouldn't want to get close to any helicopter. Can you imagine the wash off of that? I mean,
there were some helicopters that flew by us when Tommy and I were flying, and we were scared to death. We were trying to do everything to get away from them, but we never felt any wash or anything.
Really?
And they were not that far away from us. So
I do see an interest in going high if I want to practice some maneuvers, to where that I have some, 2 or 3 mistakes high. I've got time to react to correct any malfunctions, anything like that. So right off the bat, I can see an incentive to go higher for that.
I got steerable reserve.
If your fastest ground speed was 70 something miles an hour, I forgot to turn mine Fly Sky High on. I was very curious what mine was on the F1.
We covered 50 miles on our cross country that day.
It could have been more if somebody wouldn't have landed in the field.
Yes.
And ate up about 30, 45 minutes.
And you miss, and while we were actually going to go over to Petty Jean, there's a huge lookout, and it's really spectacular to see. And but he wanted to look at the corn cobs, and I respect that.
I think you need to do a show, low flyers versus high flyers.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of guys that like flying low, that's what they like doing. They like flying low. I mean, I like flying low too, but I like flying high too. You know what I mean? I like all of it, to be honest.
Yeah, it just depends on what you do, I suppose.
Yeah.
But being in close proximity and being able to control that and being close to the ground, having that rush, I think that's where most of the appeal is going to be.
Yeah.
Just like I said, I put in of my 350 hours of flight time, 100 of those was over at a sod farm. Practice foot dragging. I practice foot dragging, and let me tell you, I feel pretty confident that I'm a good foot dragger now.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. The first time you foot drag, it's a freaking rush, isn't it?
Have you tried it
Once
over?
you get it.
Once you get it, I think I got the very first one, but it was coming down, and I foot dragged, and I came back up right away. I'm like, that was my first one. Woo! Now I do infinity, where I do the figure 8, go around, and I continue to do an endless foot drag, and I would do that for, until my boots wore out. So yeah, I mean, I love it, and I still have not done a water foot drag because I don't.
Water scares me.
I don't feel like I have enough hours under my belt to do a water foot drag yet. This year coming up, this summer, I will do a water foot drag, and I will not go down and have one of those videos where I fell in the water because I did a foot drag without enough practice.
Okay.
I think it's all risk versus reward, man. I mean, to me, I don't get a whole lot of reward for the amount of risk you do foot dragging over water.
I don't think it's worth it, Brian.
I just envision broken ankles.
I've seen 3 people wipe out.
I envision drowning.
Water.
No, yeah, that too. Well, if you go shallow near the shoreline,
but still, it's not worth it.
I just think broken ankles.
People would fly without flotation. They say, "Oh, I'm not going to need it because I never fly over water." Well, when you fly over that little pond, your engine goes out. It's risk versus reward. I mean,
all he needs that little dust devil that collapses your wing, and he falls straight into a pond that's a little bit deeper than you can stand up, and your paramotor holds you down. So,
if you don't have flotation, they have flotation built into them, the air in the tank, which floats you upside down every time.
Oh my God! For 10 minutes, I've been trying to say something. My stupid microphone was muted.
Oh, he's awake.
And I'll tell you, Shane.
We thought you were still sleeping, Shane. Sorry.
Man, I have had a very emotional day today, and I apologize severely.
I hate it for you. I'm so sorry.
Man. So, anyways, I've only had 3 beers the entire night, and that's probably my problem.
Need 10 more.
Yeah, you need 3 more.
Oh man, I need after today. I need so many more. Okay. So my statement for Brian is, so before my SIV course that I went to, I hadn't been over 3,800 feet in my paramotor, and I was scared to death at 3,800 feet. And
on your paramotor.
On a paramotor. I get behind a boat and get dragged up to 4,000. And this last SIV that I did was 4,800. I would suggest to anyone going to an SIV course is to set your throttle to 85% and just start climbing till you run out of fuel. And then as you're free flying back down, just start doing little. Don't do anything major. Just kind of get used to the height, get used to being up there. Once you figure out that altitude is really, truly your friend, it's very comforting. The second SIV that I did, I was truly more comfortable than I was the very first time. The very first time I was petrified only of the heights, not doing anything.
And you had an airplane fly underneath you too.
Yeah. I mean, none of that bothered me until I got up to as high as I did. I was like, I am not comfortable with this at all. And the second time I got up there and I was just like, oh, so I just got pulled through clouds. No problem. Keep going.
Yep.
I mean, it becomes a absolute normal feeling when you get used to it. So I would suggest before your SIV to practice going up as high as you are comfortable with and pushing yourself to a little bit more of a height.
Just don't go through clouds to get up there.
Because good Lord, you're going to get pulled up to at least a minimum of 4,000 feet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been thinking about that a lot. And some of my last flights, not my very last flight, I actually couldn't climb at all. It's amazing I got in the air at all. That's going to be a whole new video coming out. But yeah, I've gone up to, my dad was at 2,500 feet in Quicksilver because I don't have an altimeter. And he said, he was looking up at me. So I was above 3,000. I was higher than I'd ever been before in a paramotor, and I felt halfway comfortable, but I looked over at my risers. I'm like, do I feel comfortable tugging on these right here? I mean, I was outside my comfort zone. I was like making very small corrections, like, okay, just fly.
Now, next time when you're up there, just grab your A's and pull them down as hard as you can.
Yeah.
That's what the SME is all
Brian,
about.
because the
I couldn't see myself doing it. I right now, I think I might get up there. I'm like, okay, I just want to get back down.
hey, Brian, I've had that same feeling, man. You get to that certain a few thousand feet, and you look, and I've had that feeling where I'm like, man, what if something happens? It's like, I'm here now. I'm here. What am I going to do? I'm already up here. So you might as well enjoy it.
It's just the same as being at 500 feet. There's no difference. I mean, there's nothing's going to.
You're not going to survive either one. If something goes wrong,
one thing that's going to be different though is if you're at an SIV, you're going to have someone in your ear, someone that you've signed on saying, "I trust this person as I go outside my comfort zone."
That's right.
So when I pull a full frontal, they're going to talk me out of it. If I do something wrong and they're saying throw the laundry, I'm okay. I'll do that, and it's going to be okay, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
you got the boat.
You're saying I'm going to trust them with my uncomfort zone.
That's
right.
right.
Oh yeah.
Sure,
it's very uncomfortable.
Okay.
You know, when I got towed up the first
reserve
time,
time.
when I got towed up the first time, Kyle pulled us up on a tow machine.
Oh my god!
And I probably went up to about 700-800 feet on the first one, and a little over 1,000 on the second one.
Yeah.
But you know, everybody's like, "Man, you look so nervous when you." I wasn't nervous. I was listening to him on that radio, That's all. I was hyper focused on what he was telling me on that radio, because I knew this man has my life in his hands.
Yeah.
Because I don't know anything else to do. I know how to kite this wing, but I've never been in the air on it. I don't know how it's going to react. So I wasn't nervous at all. I was listening to him on the radio, and I think that would be the same way at SIV. You know, I think until I get that feeling, Sean, of that free fall or something like that, I think I'll be okay. But until that happens, I don't know, man.
Tell him the first time you got towed, you in the line.
Oh, you know, Kyle tells you when he pulls you up, you know, he says, when you get in the air, he says, I want you to keep the wing square with the line. He goes, just stare at the line, keep it in front of you, and do that. And then he tells you to go ahead and look up at your wing and square it up with the line. I never looked up at my wing. That freaked me out, looking up at my wing. I don't know why, but that was the biggest freak out. Even after I started flying paramotor, just looking up like that freaked me out, dude. I don't know why, but it did.
Yeah. In the video, you can hear Kyle talking to Mark saying, look up, and the
in my GoPro, you see me. I'm looking straight ahead.
All you see is the rope. You don't see him looking up or anything. He's like, eh.
I don't remember even looking forward after pinning off. Shane, I mean, that's pretty much all we do is look up at the wing the entire time.
Actually, I got dunked in the water just shortly after takeoff, and I never saw the water coming until after I hit the water, because I was constantly looking at the wing. As soon as your feet leave as soon as my feet took off from shore, I was looking at my wing constantly, and the back of the boat, I should say. But I ended up getting dunked in the water because when I finally got my wing corrected, my teacher didn't think that I was going to save it, so he had stopped the boat, and I'm kiting the wing, and apparently as I'm falling to the water, and just as I look down, my feet are in the water. I was like, ah! But yeah, you learn from the very first time at SIV to the second time that I went. Even Andrew was like, the entire time, he's like, Shane, stop looking at the ground, look at your wing. Your wing tells you everything. And
crossing your feet and keeping them underneath you really helps a lot too.
The that telling you to look at your wing did not compute until the second SIV. And I literally had no issues correcting my wing because I could see it the entire time and I was on top of it. Before, I was too busy going, where's the ground? The ground is 4,000 feet below me. I'm not getting there anytime soon.
Yeah.
Your wing is here now. Yeah. So you got to practice that too. You got to, I do it right now as I'm flying. Anytime I fly, I'm always looking at my wing and I glance at the ground.
But as you're taking off, don't look up as you're taking off while your feet are still on the ground. That could cause some dizziness. Always look to the left and to the right. But once your feet leave the ground, look up all you want to. It's no big deal.
Yeah, good point. That's exactly what they teach us in training.
How many of you guys have had a riser twist?
If I may,
after you get in the air.
Hey, Jim's trying to chime in for a second.
Yes, sir, Jim.
Yeah, it's just getting late over here. Family's turning into bed and everything, and I just wanted to thank y'all for hosting us, having us as guests, me and Morgan. I'm sure he enjoyed it. If you could see my smile once he was on there, I was enjoying it the whole time. It's nice seeing y'all. Good seeing you again, Brian, and thank you, Brian and Sean, for having us on the show. Good seeing all y'all, Walter, Linda, and nice meeting you. Mark, is it?
Yes, sir. Mark, thank you.
Mark and
Amy.
Mark and Amy. Nice meeting you both. I'll have to look into that pair of chick pies and see what you got going there. I like to eat me some pie, so we'll see. Y'all have a good night. Good night, Shane.
Good night, sir. Sorry.
Hey, Amy's pie is the best.
Thanks for coming on.
Ask John. John had plenty of Amy's pie this weekend. It was great.
Man, we're going to have a pie joke coming up soon, I'm pretty sure. Is the tip jar still out?
Shane,
I'm awake now. I'm wide awake
now. You got to, Shane, Shaney got a second win now.
Hey, we'll get you out of your funk, Shane.
Oh,
Amy,
listen.
Hey, Amy's pie gets everybody out of their funk.
Let me tell you. First of all, I'm super embarrassed.
You?
Shane, embarrassed? Who is this imposter on our podcast?
Yeah, my wife, my wife walks in and goes, "Are you sleeping?" I was like, "Oh my god, I think I was." Like seriously,
you were snoring. You were snoring. We heard you snore.
Oh, you were out. You were sawing logs, buddy.
Oh my god, dude! Today was just been a freaking emotional roller coaster, and apparently, I did get my second win, just so you know. But Jesus, I'm truly embarrassed. I really am. I do apologize.
Oh, it was so adorable seeing Shaney snooze and snore on the podcast.
Your mouth wide open. It was just. So
You're
funny.
drooling.
The drool
was
hanging from your
everywhere.
lip was the best.
I told.
Why
Nick
didn't we
Linda to
take our
post-
screenshot then?
I know, right?
Exactly.
Oh, dang!
You know, I
Missed
can still get a
opportunity.
screenshot from that because we had it on there.
Oh
so
yeah,
I can
you can
still
back it up.
screenshot. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
I
I'm
was
okay with that.
I was just so proud how professional we just kept rolling on and everything.
Yeah.
Actually, Shane, Amy, Linda on our screen
Yeah.
was sitting right next to you with her video, and Amy was like, "Linda, can you reach over and poke Shane and wake him up?"
Poke.
I like mess. Yeah, I should. I messaged
This would
him.
be like Hollywood Squares,
Yeah,
right?
there you go.
Yeah, right.
Exactly. No.
Hey,
Mark, what we've learned tonight is maybe you should let Amy talk more. That'll keep me up, and then you talk less.
That'll be fine. Hey, if you sell paramotor equipment and pies, I don't care.
hey,
But
Shay,
Dang.
email me your information and I'll send you something.
I got
Which time? I've sent you 17 times. I've got
Not
nothing.
me. Not me. You have not sent me. You. And I
That's
tell
not
him, I
true.
need this address.
Shane,
Messenger.
I'm like, Shane, I don't have your address. And I go back and chat. It's like
Amy,
17
check
times.
Facebook Messenger.
And do you know how many times I've told him? I said I need Pete Flamingos information. I need this other guy's. And I need Shane's. Has he given it to me? No. I don't
Amy,
have anything.
check Facebook Messenger. We've already had this conversation.
Hey, you know, they came all the way up here to
Your
deliver
Facebook Messenger.
shirts.
Okay.
Maybe they'll deliver some pine shirts to you.
Back to my question: How many people have had riser twists in flight?
I just had one this past weekend.
How did you land immediately, or did you fly it out?
I apparently flew for an hour, and when I landed, or just before I landed, I looked over
Oh
and
my!
went,
Oh,
got it.
You mean you clipped in wrong?
Oh,
and a
you
couple of
clipped
your
in wrong.
Yeah, you clip in wrong. You just get in a rush and you clip in wrong.
I clipped in
yeah.
wrong and flew
never done
for
that.
almost an hour before I realized it. And I have this fear. So during class, we watched a video of a free flight guy whose door on his carabiner was not closed. And apparently that was his that's what killed him. So I have this. I take off, I fly, I'll look at the wing and work my way down, and I have the hardest time looking at my carabiners, even though I do the doors, road, brakes, clear to pulley every time. Sometimes I refuse to look at the carabiners in fear that I did not close them. And I'm over a year now, and I have this. That's the only thing that scares me during flight is this looking over and seeing this. My riser barely hooked onto the carabiner. So I know it's funny, but seriously, this is my. I literally go doors and I look at both of them to make sure that the carabiners are closed. I look at my risers to make sure everything's even. I look at my brakes and clear the pulley. I don't know what happened this past weekend, but I flew for just over an hour, and when I finally looked over at my at the riser, it was completely twisted. I was like, "Well, that's not right." I've already done spiral downs. I've done wing overs. I did big ears, all with
a riser twist.
Riser twist. nothing happened. It wasn't. It was a non-eventful.
You know, Kyle
whatever.
said he's flown with 2 double riser twists before. He didn't even realize it till after he got
On
in the air.
purpose or
And he said as long as everything's working, it's fine.
Yeah, just keep flying. That's
Yeah.
what I did.
I didn't. I got my riser twist. I noticed it as soon as I got in the air, and I immediately did a 360 and came back to LZ and landed and fixed my shit.
So Mark, when you're saying riser twist, you're not talking about risers going like this.
No, so
you're
a
talking
riser
about
twist,
clipping in wrong.
Yeah, it is clipping in wrong, and your risers are twisted.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. Gotcha.
I've actually had one at EFD where when I was flying that new APCO, because it has the tip steering that's separate from your brake toggles, right?
Right.
So somehow my brake got over the brake or the tip steering toggle, and I didn't notice it. And I got in the sky and I pulled left brake, and I noticed it didn't go back up. And I'm like, now what? And I looked, and it was tangled in the tip steering. So I tried to get it out while I'm flying, and I couldn't. So I'm like, I have to land. So I was nervous as crap landing on that landing, but everything worked fine. I mean, what I did is I just rode it in, and right before I got to the ground, I gave it full flare with both, and I mean, I landed no problem. But yeah, it just goes to show that it just goes to show that you need to take your time and slow down and make sure everything's right before you get off the ground.
Follow that checklist, man. I mean, it's a set checklist that you get driven into your mind that you do every time. You never skip it. You never rush through it. If you get interrupted halfway through it, you start over.
I don't understand how you can how you can have it clipped in wrong when you do brakes are free and clear to pulley. I mean, you're pulling up the brakes from right in front of you. I mean, if it was twisted, you'd have to pull it from the other side. You'd see the twist already. So when you did your brakes are free and clear to pulley, did you not see that it was?
There's no telling. I don't know.
Twisted?
I don't know.
I can tell you exactly what happened. I went from looking directly at. So the very first time it happened, I looked past my risers and followed the A lines up to the wing. I was doing a reverse. I literally looked past the risers, and I don't know why. And I brought it up, reversed, took off. That my very first time, I actually had a riser twist with a brake line that was actually opposite of that twist. So when I pulled brake, it held.
That's exactly what happened to me.
It held. So what I did is I ended up reaching above the riser twist and pulling the brake line out, circling back around to the left, knowing that once I pulled right, I was stuck right. So I waited to flare. This last time, this past weekend, I don't know why, because that first time scared me so bad. I don't know why or even how. I still don't know how I did it, because since my first riser twist, I've always literally focused on the risers. And then from there, I focus on the A lines. And I still right now, I don't know how I did it. It did not affect me at all on my flight, but it did give me great concern once again that I did not follow what I was supposed to be following.
Mm-hmm. You know, there's been a couple times where I've clipped in and before I took off and go to do a forward launch, and you know, you get your A's in your hand, you've got the rest of the risers laying on your arms, and it just doesn't feel right. And I've unclipped and went back and looked, and I actually, if I would have taken off, I would have had a twist. But I caught it before I got off the ground because it didn't look right and it didn't feel right when I got them laying on my arm.
Yep. Well, hey guys, I'm going to bail. Yeah, I need to go check on some family, and I appreciate y'all being on the show tonight, and everybody. I really enjoyed it. We had some good guests. That was an interesting story here in Jim and Morgan's story for sure.
That was awesome.
Another 3.5 hour podcast.
It's all good. Hey, we'll see you next week, same time, same place, right?
Yeah, but it'll be next year then.
Yeah,
Yep.
we got cool guests.
Happy New Year, guys.
Happy New Year, Brian. Thank you for jumping on. Appreciate you.
Yeah,
Later,
no
Brian.
problem, man. Peace out, everybody.
Bye.
Happy New Year.
All right.
You got something to say, Walter?
Yeah, I think Walter wants to say something, but
Are we?
I can't hear you, Walter.
Are we on the after show or still on the live show? I'm confused.
Walter,
well,
I
we're
cannot
on
hear
the
you.
after show that's still live.
Oh.
So what we're gonna do now, since it's pretty close to all of us saying goodbye, we're gonna go ahead and say goodbye to everybody, and that way, everyone that's still here, we're still gonna stay on and talk privately, to say
Oh,
our
I
goodbyes.
got it. Gotcha.
So, to everyone that's listening on YouTube, we appreciate you being on here. This is PPG Grandpa's Paramotor Podcast. This is episode 50 we had 50 episodes in 2020. So thank you very much for joining us. We had Jim and Morgan Reeves, the father and son paramotor duel, which was really awesome. We totally appreciate you guys. Sponsored by Para Swag USA and parachickpies.com. We also had John Henson from True North Paramotors and Mark Mcelroy from Paralife PPG. We appreciate everyone that has helped donate gear and shirts and things on this show this year, and we really appreciate you. This next year coming up, we're going to be doing at least one giveaway per show, and hopefully we're going to be doing a lot more. If anyone out there knows anybody that wants to give us shirts or whatever to give away, please let us know. Send me an email to ppggrandpa@gmail.com. Also go over to our merch store to help support us at iloveppg.com. And also we got Cash App at Paramotor TV, and send us a couple bucks to help us send some more shirts out to people. So thank you very much, guys. Have a wonderful day. Hope you had great holidays and Happy New Year. 2021 is coming.